Boom, boom, kaboom. Let's go. Good morning, Xbox. Welcome, everybody, to episode 85 of Good Morning Xbox. I'm your host, Mr. Boom, boom, kaboom. It's Noof Nukem in the room. We're going to have a great show lined up for you this morning, but just a couple of show notes before we get right into the thick of things. We are missing a couple of panel members this morning. First off, Mr. Scrub Nurse can't be with us. His work has called him away again. So it looks like he's going to be out at least this week, perhaps even next week as well. Scrub, we miss you, man. We hope that you get back and can be back here on a more regular basis. But anyway, we still have the majority of our other panel members, but we are also down Coolcat Terri. She is having some audio difficulties on her end. She will try to make it if she can, but I highly suspect she might be out of action today as well. And we will definitely miss her. I don't know if she's ever missed an episode, so this would be definitely an iconic episode that she's not here in case. But we do have our other incredible members of the podcast with us this morning. Yes, we've all lost an hour of sleep due to this daylight savings time or whatever the heck you want to call it. I call it just a pain in the butt. Speaking of a pain in the butt, let's bring him in. Axel 13 and 24.
Hey, what's going on, Noof? Yeah, you know what? I'm happy to be the pain in the butt to everybody here this morning, helping you all with your problems here. So, yeah. Let's get it going, man.
Let's get it going. We got a couple of good topics as well. Speaking of a person who always brings some good views to even some of the baddest topics, it's Cerebral Paul.
Thank you for me not being the pain in the butt, because I was waiting for that.
He's like, oh, yeah. You bring me up first. What's going on?
It's good to be here. Barely made it this morning, though. I got to say, my alarm went off, and I rolled over and went back to sleep. But I'm here. Here we go. Ready to go. Let's have some fun.
Glad to have you here, man. And waiting his long-awaited return. He's certainly been in the chat multiple times. One of my longest and oldest friends in the gaming space. He's a member of many podcasts. You'll find him a lot of times on Tuesday nights, Retro Renegades. He's also on Breakfast with Boom. He's on a bunch of different shows. I won't get into them all here. He can tell you more about them, but I am very excited and honored to have him back with us. The man who's breaking bread with Dread, the one, the only Dreadpool.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I wanted to be the pain in the butt. I mean, what's going on with this?
You can still be one.
I mean, yeah.
I will say, if Dread ever offers to feed y'all pizza, no.
Don't. Well, no. Don't go to where Paul stays. They get pizza. That's the problem. But yeah, we got Breaking Bread with Dread. I have ACS Husk actually editing for me and getting all that, all my edits out there. So that way, those videos can be presented to you. I'm on Fridays with Breakfast with Boom, Sunday nights, Gaming Beyond the Box. So yeah, definitely check us out. And, and every once in a while I do some streaming. You never know. And I hang out with Axel and Noof and everybody in the community. So, we have a good time, and it's great to be back here. I think technically, didn't I do this once? But I think it was without you.
You've been here, but it's been a while.
It's been a long time. Yeah. So far, I can't remember how long ago.
And then I tried to get you on one time here in the past, not too long ago, and I think you had work duties or something like that.
Unfortunately.
You just kind of slipped down the line here, but no, we're good to have you here, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Alrighty, and bringing in a first timer, at least on this particular podcast. I saw him on a few different ones. I can't even remember exactly where I ran into this guy, but I know he's been in my chats. And when I saw him on a podcast and I heard him articulate his ideas, I said, I like this guy. And I was like, I'm going to definitely have to get him on my podcast. And that is John Wolf. Welcome to the program, brother.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, Noof. It's honestly an honor, man. Thank you for sending me an invite. And yeah, man, I look forward to discussing some topics this morning with you and the rest of the guys here, man. And have a good time. Jim Ryan owes me an hour of sleep. So, definitely going to be collecting on that. But yeah, man, ready to tackle these topics.
Absolutely. We do have a couple of good topics. And speaking of topics or things that will certainly put your jaw on the floor, you guys are never going to believe it. But yes, I gave in again and finally went out and got Game Pass.
There you go.
I got Game Pass, guys.
Whenever
I'm not gonna say a thing. You get enough crap from everybody else that I'm gonna stay quiet. So.
All I'm gonna say is, you found it when it was time for you to get it. That's all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man. You held off,
That's
and that's it. You finally saw the value in it, man. And
well, I've always knew there was value. There's no question about it. I just, it just felt like the time was right, and I had to stop being a stubborn old mule and just get with the program, right?
Hallelujah! Noof has seen the light.
Why miss out on so many great games everybody else is playing, and I'm just like over here sitting there going, "Geez, like that's $80, and that's $80, and that's $80." And I mean, you can call me a cheapskate and one of those, "Hey, you don't buy any games." Well, I certainly buy a fair ton of games, but
no,
I mean,
why
limit yourself, right?
It's not is that. Go ahead, Paul. Sorry about
I was going to say Game Pass allows us to buy more games if you look at it that way.
Yeah, Noof went from get off my lawn to, hey, let's have a lawn party.
For sure.
No, he still get off my lawn. He just allows you to step onto the the cobblestones that are in there. So
Indeed.
The thing is that as lifetime gamers, all of us, we've been kind of trained and we kind of have these habits that they're kind of hard to get out of, man. If you think about it. So we all got something, man, when it comes to gaming that it's hard to apart ourselves from.
Well, I think that's why it's best to be a gamer and not any platform, none of that hype. Just enjoy games, enjoy what you like, and move on.
To everybody in the chat, first of all, welcome, and let me know how everything is sounding this morning, because John, your audio is a little bit off. It's kind of in and out sort of thing. You kind of sound like Cerebral Paul did for a while. But so if you could just kind of get a little more consistency there and maybe bring it up the volume a little bit. I can bring up the volume on my side too, but you just kind of it's kind of like a bit of a fading effect, like you're coming in and then it kind of like dying out, sort of almost like you're walking to and from a microphone kind of deal.
Yeah, you might have to adjust your gain a little bit. That's what.
Gotcha. Let me work on this.
Oh, it's cleaner now.
Yeah, that was a lot better, right off the bat. Whatever you did there.
As a DJ, this is what I used to have to say. Put the microphone up to the mouth like you're about to suck it. Sometimes people get too far away from the mic, and that's
I don't know about that.
Yeah. but the other side is sometimes it gets too close. So there's this perfect zone.
2 inches.
Yeah, you guys let me know. Is this better?
Oh, that's great.
That's all right, great. Somebody said perfect zone. Dreadpool's like, 2 inches.
That's about right too. It gives the sound room to form outside of your mouth.
Yes. Well, I see Coolcat Terri is in the chat. Oh, no, that was earlier this morning, I guess. I'm just kind of going back to her. I was like, "Whoa, she's in the chat," but that's okay. Okay, I guess she obviously said good morning to people before she figured out that things were working audio wise. But anyway, let's catch up with the chat real quick, because of course we got to appreciate and acknowledge those who obviously make worthwhile getting up on a Sunday morning. And we got, for the first time ever, we got somebody in the chat that I don't recognize here. The Game Complainers. Sounds like a channel that I might have formed.
Yeah, you need to check them out.
Welcome.
They're on Wednesday nights. Late Wednesday nights. Check them out. They're good friends of mine.
Nice. Well, the Game Complainers, welcome. Greatly appreciate it. Glad you could be here, even if you're one here to support Dread. He's a good dude, and it's good to have you in the chat. Always, guys, my one of my favorites, big time community supporter. Just an awesome dude. Doggy Dog 420 is in the building. What's going on? Another longtime supporter, You're Wicked Hot, is in the building. What's happening, brother? I see Cray Simmons TV is here as well. Back from the dead, another good friend of the show, hanging out with us this morning. Good to see you back. We got Jesse Derby always hanging around. Sorry, Jesse, I don't think Cletus is available this morning, but you never know when he might pop by to say hello. We got Doggy Dog with the first super chat of the morning, and we'll get our resident Axel to read it out.
Yeah, Doggy Dog 420, my fellow panel member, says, "Happy Sunday, new panel and chat. Lots of coffee."
Yes, going to need an extra cup for the daylight savings time. All right, we got Invader Gaming. Yes, the host of TXR on Sunday nights. It is Invader is in the building. What's going on, brother? Good to see you here as well. We got Dead Proof, not Dreadpool, but it's Dead Proof is in the building. You almost look at them and get them mixed up. Seamus Kelly, my good buddy, right here in Fort Saskatchewan, Alberta. What's going on? Good morning to you, Seamus. You are up bright and early. Holy shit. Casket Repair is in the house. And who else we got here? I think we more or less caught up with just about everybody. I think we got Enzo, and I think Dan and Meg Cunningham and Ice Queen Gaming. Hope you're doing a lot better, Ice Queen. Good to see you here as well. Yes, Snoof does the best Arnold, apparently. Well, some people say. All right, good times. Who was it? We had not this past week, but the week before, man. We it was Red Wolf, I think his name was over on the podcast that I do with KY Bob and Company, Games Out Live, and he did a wicked Stewie Griffin impression. Holy shit! And he was doing Stewie, and I was doing Arnold on that show, and it was hilarious. Oh my god! His Stewie is spot on the freaking money. Like, oh my god, he had us rolling, and he could talk a good game like as he's doing the impression. Like, it sounds like literally shit that Stewie would say too. So it's like, man, this guy's good. But anyway, let's get right into it. All right, but what's everybody been playing first? This is how we lighten up the fun, and let's head over to our amazing guests. Let's start with Dreadpool. Dread, what have you been throwing down lately, brother?
Oh man, I've been going back to Callisto Protocol. Finally got past the glitch that I had. 5 updates, and I don't know how many countless times of resetting my Xbox, and finally got past it. Got to a boss and finally called it quits because I was playing. It was like 3:00 in the morning. I was like, I can't do this no more. I'm just too tired and not thinking straight, and my reactions are slow. So, but getting into that, I was gonna fire up the Resident Evil 4 Chainsaw demo, so didn't get a chance to do that. But mainly a lot of work and just jumping on, playing, a couple of quick games here and there, whatever I can get my hands on. So I'm looking forward to Halo, and just wanted to do a community game night and passed out early last night, so missed out on that one.
Well, no matter how many games get delayed, we can all agree there's still a ton of games. There's way more games than there is time, that's for sure.
Oh, yes. Nice
selection. Callisto Protocol. Who's been playing the Wo Long? Maybe it's you, Mr. John Wolf. What have you been smashing into?
Yeah, I tried out the Wo Long for a few hours, man. Just wasn't feeling it, to be honest with you. That whole parry system's, in my opinion, a little bit off, or I just need more time with it. But I went back to Watch Dogs, man, the original Watch Dogs, and I've been playing that because I never beat that game. So I don't know, just I was in the mood for an open world type game, and I turned on Watch Dogs, and I've been playing that over the last week. I also fired up the Halo to check out the new content, and I played a few maps in it. It's looking good, man. It was those maps are definitely, I like the verticality of them. I think that there's a new weapon that was introduced, which I'm looking to get more hands-on time. And yeah, other than that, man, a little bit of Modern Warfare 2 here and there, but that's about it.
Nice. Nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with going back and revisiting some of the oldies and the goodies.
Yep.
All right. Speaking of oldies, but not so good.
I knew that was coming. Yeah, that one got telegraphed real quick. Okay. Let's see. Last week I played a little bit of Destiny 2 Lightfall because I actually gave away a copy of my show on the Xbox Ambassador channel. Other than that, I've been playing mostly Fallout and just dinking around in other little games, or not Fallout, but Fortnite rather. And just kind of all over the place. I haven't really been really focused on any one game this last week or so.
Yeah. And the world must be coming to an end. It's 2 things that I kind of refused to do for a very long time was get Game Pass and play Fortnite, and I've done both this year, so that's crazy.
Yeah, you and I need to do some Fortnite together. That'll be fun.
Absolutely.
Wolf has been taken over by an alien, guys.
Yeah, something's going on. Fortnite, it's actually, I gotta admit, it's actually quite fun. I've actually settled in and quite enjoy it.
When they did the graphic, when they changed over the engine and improved the graphics, it's a totally different game.
Fortnite is like those Funko Pops, man. All it takes is a character that you like or like that to get you in. I never tried out Fortnite, right? And when they released that Doom guy skin,
I got that. Yeah.
they got me. So I literally only played like a few rounds, and I'm like, at least I know it's there. I'll go back to it. It's all right. They got me to try it out. So it's like the Funko Pop of the video games, man.
What's nice too is the way they work their season passes. You can earn enough V-Bucks to pay for your season pass. So once you pay for it the first time, you just roll it over and over and over. It never costs you another penny. So,
well, I gotta thank my good buddy Seamus Kelly. You got me into that. He's in the chat right now, and if anybody knows my buddy Seamus, he's a hardcore gamer. I mean, he's been playing for years, but he really likes sports games, right? Like he's one of those guys, like religiously you'd see him online, and he's usually playing like Madden or golf or hockey. Like if it's a sports game, the man plays it, right? He plays the sports games like most of us play, like our shooters and stuff. So anyway, eventually he's on Fortnite, and then I'm like, he's on Fortnite again this night, and he's on Fortnite again, and he was kind of like, he didn't really kind of get the whole shenanigan either, and I kept seeing him so much on Fortnite. I said, you know what, frig it. I'm sitting in bed one night. I download the game for the Switch, and I said, I'll try it on the Switch first anyway. Maybe it'll be fine enough over there. And sure enough, I played a couple of games and said, well, it is what it is, but it plays as smooth as butter. Like I felt like it was just easy to pick up and play. I got, the handle on the mechanics right away. And it just, like I said, it's kind of straightforward. It doesn't do as much of the other BS as some of the other, battle royale games, I guess you can say. And I was like, okay, I kind of like this. And then, of course, like John is right. Once the skins come out and you get hooked on one, it's just like, oh crap, everybody's got all these cool skins, and you're like, damn, I got to get this person. I got to get this. But like, I just dropped some coin the other day and bought Aloy. So I was like, yeah, okay.
They figured out the secret formula, right? It's how to kind of cater to everyone. Everyone's gonna bite eventually. So they got that down.
Secret formulas imitate everybody.
That's right.
Pretty much.
That is right, and that's a good way to put it. They take a lot of things that make other games successful and bring it in. We didn't forget about Axel. Axel, what have you been playing, brother?
Oh man, you know me. I've been playing the Wolong, teaching all those bosses who's the real boss. Yeah, I'm loving Wolong. The more I play it, the more I'm enjoying it. And I guess it's because the more I play it, the better I get at it.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
I basically just finished this level that is essentially a boss rush.
Right.
Every encounter was a boss over and over again. It was very annoying, but I got through it. I just haven't had time to go back to it. But yesterday, and then, of course, I've been playing Monster Hunter with my friends. I do every weekend. The fact that Monster Hunter came to Game Pass is even better. And Monster Hunter Rise, the expansion is coming, and I think I'm gonna cave into that one and get it because I do like me some Monster Hunter, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's just fun. The grind is fun. Me and my friends enjoy it. Killing all these monsters, trapping them, getting the little side missions, everything,
Mm-hmm.
And it's a fun multiplayer game.
And so, Axel, so you've ghosted Halo. Do they know? Are they upset?
Whoa! What do you mean I ghosted Halo?
A new season is out. A new season is out, and you're playing all this other stuff. You're cheating them.
Did you not see me last night, Paul? I ended up getting my weekly last night on Halo multiplayer. Yeah, I've also been playing Halo multiplayer. They released some pretty awesome content. The storyline's finally coming together. That they've been putting out on multiplayer. Before, I just thought it was like, oh, those are just some cool cutscenes.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's a story, and now I'm invested, and I got to know what's going on. And the skins are finally good.
I agree.
The skins are finally good. That's all I have to say. Finally, I'm like, okay, now I gotta get this skin. Now I gotta get that skin. And I gotta grind for them. You gotta go through the battle pass, and there I am working my battle passes. So yeah, playing some Halo, playing some Wolong, playing some Monster Hunter.
Damn.
I'm there. And of course, the reason I'm playing all of that is because I feel better, Noof.
That's true. Yeah,
these last rough 3 weeks have been really bad. And finally, I get the healing process last week, and it started healing real good. And I'm like, I feel good. I feel good enough to play. So yeah.
I totally understand how you feel, man. Well, glad that you're starting to feel better, Axel, and are able to get some gaming in. And yeah, you definitely like to you go from one type of punishment to another with Wolong. So how about that?
Yeah, I am. I am definitely the resident masochist here.
Well, not only that, then you're wanting all these new skins on Halo. You sound like Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs. You know?
Lotion
Oh,
in the
man.
That's right.
Oh, man. Let's catch up with the chat real quick before we jump into the first topic. We got another new person in the building right now. Snoog City. What's going on, Snoog? We got Sir X-Man hanging out with us this morning. What's going on, Brother X? Good to see you in the house. Eternal Shaddai. Yes, former member of Good Morning Xbox. And technically, he's still a member. He's just kind of doing his own thing right now. But you never know. He might return in the future. Good to see you, Eternal Shaddai. I hope Cell Block 22 is still treating you well. And Ice Queen Gaming with us as well. The Game Complainer still hanging out here. Dan White is in the building this morning. What's going on, Dan? Royal Boyle is in the house. Good to see you here, Royal. And let's keep the show rolling. All right, so let's get right into it, guys. Starfield, yes, if you haven't heard by now, they finally came out and gave us a date to look forward to. But a lot of people, well, some people, like I said, are quite fine with it, really have no objections. I mean, just delay the game, make it great. But you always got that portion of the community of just making a mountain out of a molehill, and everybody's screaming from the top of the lungs, well, they shouldn't announce it in that 12-month window then, and all this sort of stuff. Look, I mean, there's not a person on this panel that doesn't echo your frustration. I think we're all frustrated. We know that Xbox has been long in the tooth, and certainly we've seen more than our fair share of delays. But they got a few games coming out beforehand. Strategically, I don't think it's a bad idea to drop it in September. I think it's a pretty good month overall. You kind of get out before some of the Christmas holiday heavy hitters as well, and it gives the game a little bit of time to breathe. And I'm sure, like I said, it could have something to do with unannounced stuff as well that we don't know about that could potentially be announced in June at the Xbox Showcase. So there could be 100 different reasons. I'm sure the game is going to come out and it's going to be pretty damn good. A lot of people are already going, well, it's just going to be another bug Bethesda kind of a deal. Look, I'm sure it's going to have bugs like pretty much every game, especially the bigger a game gets in scope and size. It's inevitable, but hopefully they can limit it to just, cosmetic-y kind of stuff and stuff that really has no major interference on how we play the game. I know I'm super excited for it. I can't wait to jump into the world of Starfield. I got my calendar marked September the 6th, 2023. Gives me a little bit more time to pick away at that backlog, which is absolutely enormous. Let's find out how the panel feels about the announcement and the upcoming showcase in June, I do believe, is when they're going to talk more about Starfield in depth. We're going to get an inside look at this game and how it's shaping up. We will just go down the line here. We're going to start with Axel. Axel, what's your take?
When Starfield had a release date originally of 11/11/22.
That's right.
And then they delayed it with no release date at all. But you kind of always knew, okay, it has to come out before June 6th, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
June 13th, something like that. Right? Anyways, you knew you were going to be, okay, it's going to be there. It's going to be there. And as the dates kept going and Forza got pushed back and Redfall got pushed back and everything else is getting pushed back. And as the year's going on, I'm like, I think the windows are getting too close together to launch that many games. One of these games is going to get pushed out. And Starfield was that game that got pushed out. And I believe Forza might also get pushed out of that 12-month window as well. It just, the longer you waited, the more I personally thought this game's not making that 12-month window. I kind of prepared myself before the announcement. But I held out a little hope, it's going to launch in March because it's Space Month, or it's going to launch on these specific dates because they're space related, right? And it just kept missing dates. It just kept missing dates. It just kept missing dates. That there was no advertising. There was no this, and I'm like, there's no way they're launching this big of a game without any hype buildup. And it just keeps missing and missing and missing. And I'm like, all right, it's not making it. And of course, then that got confirmed. It got confirmed that it got pushed out of that 12-month window. A lot of people are upset at Xbox on that 12-month window because Xbox technically are now liars. We're gonna have to add Phil lying Spencer to the list here, because he lied on that 12-month window. Now I know that at the 12-month window at the little bottom, there's a little fine print. I don't know if you saw my tweet that says all games targeting. It didn't guarantee anything. Yes, there's fine print, but still, your word means something to people,
right?
To gamers. And when you're not hitting it, that kind of sucks. So yeah. I don't know if they're going to do another E3 with that, coming in the next 12-month gameplay style, which I personally enjoyed. I personally liked it because it gave me a lot of hype, a lot of hope. Like, man, look at everything that's going to come out in the next 12 months. I'm going to be a busy gamer. That's awesome. And if they do that again, I'm like, man, look at half of everything that's going to get delayed next year. It changes it. So, yeah, I'm a little bummed that Xbox is not going to keep their word. I am not bummed that Starfield got delayed because I am hyped. I still have faith in Todd Howard. Every single one of his games has been a Game of the Year contender, if not one Game of the Year.
Yeah.
I still have a lot of hope. I'm very excited for Starfield, and hopefully 9.6 is the last delay there is, unlike other games that have been delayed about 4 or 5 times.
Right. Actually, do you think this is sort of upsetting at this point, though, for someone like Phil Spencer, who obviously hears the community and things like this? I mean, there's a reason that these companies usually give us target dates as well, right? And when you keep slipping from them, because I mean, obviously some of these games, especially the big games, they like to fall into certain times of the year when they can maximize eyes on the prize, return on investment. I mean, because it's going in Game Pass, I mean, it could be legit any time of the year, really, right? Because like I said, it's not like you got to sit there and save your coins. If you're on Game Pass, the value is exponential. But again, like a lot of times you want to hit those target windows and you keep falling, it kind of shifts around the whole marketing thing. You know what I mean? Like they've got to rework things. I mean, we all remember Halo Infinite, how much they spent on marketing the game for the launch, and then it got delayed. And I'm thinking, look at all the money they spent with Monster energy drinks and potato chips and all these other things that Halo plastered all over it. And then all of a sudden we're like, oh shit, we're going to wait pretty much almost another year for this thing.
Hey, Noof, look in the back room, Noof. Look in the green room.
I do see her in the back room, absolutely.
Okay.
This is a rarity, but there's a girl coming in the back door. There she goes.
Usually they're going out the back door, not coming in.
Welcome to Coolcat Terri.
I made it. I'm sorry for the delay, you guys. My entire audio driver was like just being stupid, so I had to do a full uninstall, reinstall, reboot, everything. It took forever.
Oh, highly. Well, you made it here, and you made it in pretty
PC life. All right.
I'm sorry, no. I'm still waiting for the Phil Spencer games to come out, if I'm being honest with you. Like, ever since Phil Spencer took over, a lot of games have been were in development before he took over. And the acquisitions that he made, a lot of those games were in development before the acquisition, all that stuff. So I am actually still waiting on the Phil Spencer era of games to come out. Now, the Xbox Series X is Phil Spencer's Xbox. There's no doubt about it. And the Xbox Series X is a phenomenal machine. I definitely think Phil Spencer delivered on what Xbox fans want out of their console, which is just pure power, capability, all that stuff. But I am still waiting on that first Phil Spencer era game.
What about the
I guess maybe Halo could be considered a Phil Spencer era game because I do think he was heavily involved in that one. But outside of Halo, I am still waiting on that first Phil Spencer game, and I think Forza Motorsport is going to be the second Phil Spencer game. I guess Forza Motorsport 5 or Forza Horizon 5 is another one. There are a lot of games under Phil Spencer that have come out.
2 or Flight Sim to be into that group or no?
Yeah, well, I don't know about Psychonauts 2. That was well in development before Xbox bought them. They just added more since they bought them, which turned out to be a phenomenal game. I love Psychonauts 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you look at the quality of games since Phil Spencer took over and since his pet project Crackdown got that really terrible rating, meta rating. Now, I personally liked Crackdown for what it was. But if you look at the quality of games that have come out since Phil Spencer took over, he started delaying games, allowing games to be delayed. And when they come out, man, they're in the 80s and the 90s. I don't think there have been very many games in the 70s or lower since Phil Spencer has changed the mantra over at Xbox into giving them time to develop. You look at a game like Hi-Fi Rush in the 80s. You look at games like Flight Simulator in the 90s, Halo Infinite in the 80s, which is, in my opinion, still low for Halo. But either way, the Phil Spencer era has started of him taking over and allowing development time. But I'm still waiting for that really like that true first Phil Spencer game, which I think is going to be probably Hellblade 2. I mean, I think Hellblade 2 is going to be the first true from conception to realization Phil Spencer game. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys,
Right.
but I think that's going to be it. Other than the Halo Gears Forza Trinity of Power, if you will.
Right. Nice. Let's go over and see if Cerebral Paul's got his typical groan for us about the release date slipping.
No. Actually, the only thing one thing I want to say, I don't like the fact that Xbox lied. They lied to us. I think lying means they had an intent to deceive.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was their intent ever. I think their intent was to have it out by the first 6 months of this year. So I don't like using the word they lied to us or misled us in any way, because I don't think that was ever their purpose. Somebody lies to me on purpose, that shows intent. I don't see that here. But other than that, the only thing I was upset about, was I was really hoping they were going to make that 6 month. I mean, even if they would have said June 30th, I would have been okay. We're still in that 6 months, but then it's September. Oh crap! I got to wait another 3 months for the damn game.
Do you think, Paul, that perhaps there could be, like I said, maybe there is something else in the window and we just don't really know?
Yeah,
about it yet?
I do. I think you're right on. They gave it room to breathe.
Rush on us, right? They dropped that on us right out of nowhere.
Yep, and I think by moving this to September, we'll give it room to breathe, and we'll also give it room to not bury all the other games that are going to be out there. So, because a lot of people are going to be jumping on Starfield the day it launches. I know I'm going to be one of them.
Yep.
As soon as it's available for download, it's there, and as soon as it's live, I'm probably streaming. So the only other thing about that announcement that upset me was when Todd went, "Yeah, we've been over here playing it every day." You son of a bitch. Yeah. I want to be playing it every day.
Something tells me when they're playing it, though, there's a totally different critical eye going up as opposed to us playing it. Because they're probably
I think sometimes they're just playing it to play and then see if they trip over anything. Because that's the only way to really find bugs, is to play it like you normally would. You can't go, if you go in looking for bugs, you're going to miss stuff. But if you're just playing it like a normal player, you're going to run into stuff you wouldn't think about.
Right.
So, other than that, I think, am I happy? It's, I actually got harped on because I dared to complain that it was being delayed. I'm like, I have been its biggest cheerleader since the day it was announced. Leave me alone. I've been the most forgiving person, and this is, I'm not, bent out of shape about it. I'm not pissed and, burning a Phil Spencer in effigy somewhere,
So no. I've learned you got to take this stuff, because I've been one of those guys who often complains a little bit too much, and I've kind of just
I never would see that coming out of you.
I'm just kind of like, why expend so much energy and negativity around something? I mean, obviously that's out of our control. And just like I said, it's not like if I look around, I don't have things to play to tide me over. It's just sometimes it's a blessing in disguise, right? To get you a chance to go and explore new games, or maybe get further into games that are on Game Pass that you've been like, man, that's been on my docket forever. There's a lot of things like that, or play some more multiplayer with your friends. It's like not the end of the world. It always sucks, like I said, because we get our hearts and minds set up on these things, and the bigger the game gets, the more hype that it has surrounding it, the harder they are to kind of just sit back and go, oh crap, I got to wait another 6 months kind of deal. But hey, we're kind of getting used to it right now, and it is what it is. I think what Cerebral Paul is trying to say to you guys over at Bethesda is, get your servers ready, guys. Get your servers ready.
Yeah, that's it. And my big thing too is, and I've said it before in here, and I've said it in my Twitter, is there are more important things for me to worry about in my life than prioritizing this game coming out and not coming out and expending all that energy. I've got so much other drama going on in my life that's the least of my problems. You know.
So there's definitely a lot of excitement in the chat for Starfield. Seamus is excited. Missing number just put up on the screen. Just so much you're trying to catch up on, right? So like everybody's kind of in the same boat here, essentially. Just some people choose to go downstream with a different paddle. What's going on, Dan the Man Cunningham? We got missing number in the chat. Doggy Dog's hanging out with us. The Indie Gamers in the house. Good to see you here, Indy. It's been a long time, brother. General Spartan hanging out with us as well. And who else do we got? Just jump in here. We got a lot. Fuzzy Belvedere's in the building. It's going to be a good day when Fuzzy is here. All right. And anyway, let's move right along. Dreadpool, sir. What's your consensus on Starfield slipping to the 6? Is that right up your alley?
My response is...
There's a big sigh before you started. That's not good.
Yeah, right. Here's my response. Human sacrifice, cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria. This is what's going on in today's world with this date change and everything. No, seriously, I really don't care.
Hey, can anybody tell me what movie that line was from?
Ghostbusters. God, there's
my God,
no question this shit.
Yeah. Wow.
So, but
for walking.
It's just, it's upsetting to hear them say something and then not getting what you're expecting. You know what I mean? But I've learned one thing. I was so into the prequels for Star Wars, Phantom Menace. I was researching everything, every little detail, this and that. And I was left to be disappointed. So now, because of that life lesson learned, I don't expect anything from anyone. When we watch these shows, when we watch anything, I take it for a grain of salt. I don't care who says it, because Xbox is not the only one that has delayed games. Xbox is not the only one that has had the T virus delays. You know what I mean? Let's look at it in reality. Everything is happening. I'm still dealing with delays in my industry, and it's not necessarily just myself in my company, but other companies that are delaying us too. So it's everywhere. And for them to say, hey, here's our 12-month window, I understand where everybody can say, hey, you said it live, and then Axel's like, but if you look at the fine print, right, yet again, there's always that fine print. But they should say, our goal is, be straight up about it. This is our goal to bring you in the next 12 months. Now, whether or not they said it like that, I can't say. I'm not going to go back and research that. I'm just not going to bother. Is it a disappointment? On the one side, yes, but because I don't have any expectations, whatever, it's another day. You know what? We move on. We wake up the next morning and we start all over again. It doesn't matter what happened the day before. We just keep on moving along, and I think that's what they're doing too. They're moving along. They're just trying to get this game. They're trying to make it perfect. And if it was playable, again, just like Halo, it was playable in that state. How they're not playing the most newest version of it. They're playing an older version, 2-3 months behind, knowing that certain things will get better. I mean, we've seen the GTA 6 leaks pop out, and then everybody in full force, in Twitter and rest of the communities pop out like, oh my God, I can't believe this is this bad. And then you have devs come out and they're like, yeah, everything at this point in the time looks this bad. So my only thing is, when it does get cleaned up at the very end and they push it out, will it still have the, I don't know, time-honored Bethesda bugs for stuff like that when it, Fallout?
I'm sure it will. I can guarantee you it will have bugs. I mean,
right.
that's.
But if I were Phil Spencer, I'd be like, you know what? We know that this is going to be said. We know that this is going to happen. How about you guys find these bugs before we release it? We're not releasing it just because we have to release it. we are the publisher. We have the money. We will make it bigger, $1 million man.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we'll keep going with it and fix it. So this way we have the least amount of problems, because you think of how many people play these games, right? Versus how many testers, and they're using AI now to start testing games. But yet again, AI can only test so much. Humans would do certain things that AI would never think of doing. You know what I mean? So when it comes to that, they're still, even with AI, it's still a small limited amount of pool. So we still will see glitches. We just won't see them as evident as they used to be back in the day. And I'm fine with that. I'd rather, yet again, push out a game at its best that it can be, than just push out a game because we set a dateline and now everybody's holding us to the teeth on that. It has to happen.
I think this is essentially their first major release, though, right? Since they've been under the Xbox banner, am I correct? I mean, because you got
major as an exclusive, yes.
Yeah,
because everything else.
Remember they had what is it?
Well, they've had Doom Eternal and they've had Deathproof and all that stuff.
Yeah, Deathloop, Ghostwire,
well,
Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah,
Hi-Fi Rush is the only other one, because everything else was either multi-plat or exclusively released somewhere else and then brought over. So,
right, but they've still released major games since the takeover.
Since the takeover, yes, but exclusively for Xbox. That's why I was saying exclusively for Xbox, because those other ones were already in production before Xbox took over, even though they released under Xbox. So that's the way I look at it. The way I look at life is don't expect anything from anybody. Don't expect anything from this game. Don't expect anything from that product. Get research, get what you get. And know what you're getting, and if it doesn't meet your expectations after you get it, when you know what you're getting, then you speak up and don't buy it again. Move on.
So you're kind of saying, in a way, this is a chance for Xbox to have sort of a statement game, and I don't mean like it's going to come out and set the world on fire critically, but maybe kind of like let's get rid of that stigma that it's Bugthesda, like let's just make this game as good as it's going to get at launch, kind of deal, and I can't make the things minimal and not drastic. You know what I mean?
Well, and not Noof. Dread speaks to it though, that no matter how long they try and how long they try to make it perfect, the difference between having 300 people look at the game and having 300,000 people look at the game, we're gonna find bugs.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this game isn't really, at the beginning, I was never interested in this game, to be honest.
Yeah.
But the more and more I see it, the more and more I'm interested. I was always happy for my friends to be able to get the game that they want to play and see it and experience it. But the more and more people are talking about it and literally turning into 13-year-old kids excited for Christmas, knowing that this game's coming, even though it's not for Christmas, but still knowing that this game's coming, these adults are talking as children, with the excitement, with the glisten in their eyes and all that. The more and more I get really more interested into it and curious about it.
I can guarantee you people are planning their September 6th vacations with their work. I won't be into work until September 12th. I'll see you then. Yeah.
They bring it right when everybody's going back to school. The kids are like, damn!
Skipping school for the first 3 quarters of the year.
Yeah, our attendance is way down this year. What's going on? And all the kids die or something? What's going on here?
They're being homeschooled.
That's it. That's how you keep COVID at bay. Keep the kids in the house. Right. Yeah. Hey, but how about you, Mr. John Wolf? Let's bring you into the conversation. How do you feel about Starfield? Are you excited about it at all? And what was your kind of reaction when you said September 6th?
Yeah, I'm of a couple of minds here, right? I think that everyone has articulated some good thoughts here. In my opinion, there's a few ways to tackle that question, right? And right off the bat, I'll let the gamer side speak first. I think it's the right call because at the end of the day, you want the best product to come out because it's representative of your brand. And obviously, Xbox is banking big on Starfield. I would assume, right, that they do see it as their next big franchise. It's a brand new franchise from Bethesda that hasn't had a new franchise in a very long time. So it's a big deal. And my gamer mind says that I'm super happy that even though that they made promises and they're not forcing Todd Howard to release a product that's incomplete or not good enough. So I'm happy with that because they understand the quality, right? The quality needs to be there because that's one of the stigmas that they have, right? Bethesda for a long time, but sticking to that that theme of stigmas, Xbox has they got a big problem, and I'm gonna tell you what it is, okay? When the when you test gamers' goodwill, there's only so far that you can take it, right? So I think someone said it a little bit earlier. I think it was you, Dread, and it might have been Axel also that mentioned that anytime going forward that Xbox announces a release date, a release window, or whatever the case may be, you're gonna kind of be looking at them side-eyed. And I think that that's pretty much how gamers are looking at Xbox right now, kind of side-eyed whenever they say that, oh, we're going to release this game on this date. It happened with Halo Infinite. We know that the content stopped coming after a while, and that's really what hurt the game because what they released at the end of the day, I loved it. I thought Halo Infinite was a fantastic game, definitely up there with top Halos of all time, in my opinion. Right, I really enjoyed the gameplay, and I've been playing it, for since it released here and there. So the thing is though that just like the PlayStation has a stigma about them, okay, at least for me, to this day I don't store any payment types on the PlayStation Store because of what happened on the PS3. They just have a stigma about them that they're not secure. Okay, and that stuck with them for a long time. So they've had to work hard to remove that stigma since they were hacked back in the PS3 days. They've had to work harder than everybody else to prove to everybody that they're not going to get hacked again. And that's kind of like the same way that I see Xbox with this thing. If Xbox as a brand recognizes that they have this stigma about them that their first party just isn't releasing timely, just has an issue getting their stuff together, that means they need to work harder than everybody else. So
okay, well, now correct me if I'm wrong though. Didn't Sony fix that just by stopping taking credit cards? If I recall,
well,
you have to buy a Sony card and put that in now. You have to go.
Yeah, I mean they've remedied and are they look? Am I confident that they're secure now more than they were during the PlayStation 3, PlayStation Store era? Of course, logically, of course, but they still have that stigma about them. The same way that Nintendo has a stigma that I'll only buy Nintendo games physically because I don't know if they're going to shut down their store like they did with the 3DS and with the Wii U. I don't trust in them. So they do have that stigma in Xbox right now. I think just has to work harder. Unfortunately, look, it's not fair. It's not right. It shouldn't be that way. I personally don't care because I'll be playing Starfield in September. I got plenty to play. But still, when you have that stigma about you and you know that that's kind of like the knock on you, I feel like you got to work harder than everybody else. That's just the way I see it. And not make excuses or anything like that. Figure out a way to get it done. Now, with all that said, again, my logical gaming brain can go back and I can think two things at once, right? And I can say, okay, you know what? I can kind of see where they knew that they were going to get backlash because of their 12-month window promise, but at least you know that it's more important to them the quality of the game. So I respect them for that. But then again, I can also within the same thought say, hey, you guys dropped the ball here. Once again, you guys promised gamers a 12-month window where all these games are going to release, and now it looks like you guys just did that to shut everybody up. You know what I'm saying? Because you guys scrambled and figured out a marketing scheme to kind of cover your tracks and say, oh man, 2022 is looking real bad. How can we turn this shit sandwich and make you eat it? And they came up with the 12-month window. So it is disappointing. They deserve to be called out on it. And I think that overall, I've seen the community do that.
That's what that damn taste in my mouth is. Darn
it! but at the same time, to bring it back and make it positive, it's good for the game. It's good for the game that they delayed it. So that was the right call at the end.
Nice. Well said. Well said. We got a super chat coming in, courtesy of Props, the most creative name in the podcast chat this morning, Jim Rat Bastard Ryan. Axel, you get to read this one out. Thanks for Jim Rat Bastard for stopping by and dropping some coin in the chat.
Jim Rat Bastard Ryan drops that 2 pounds and he says, "Don't forget, Starfield is harder to make than a God of War." Oh, you heard it straight from Jim Rat Bastard Ryan's mouth.
Alrighty. Thanks for that, Mr. Wolf. And let's head over now and let's get to Coolcat Terri. Let's see how she feels about Starfield. I always forget with Terri. Like, she's very selective on her games, so sometimes I forget if she's really excited or not. But either which way, excited or not, you can always speak about the delay itself and sort of, the disappointment, I guess, it leaves at the end of the day for fans of any game. But this game in particular, it's been hyped for a long time. And take it away, Terri. What did you think when you heard the date was pushed to September?
Okay, so when I've been working, so I haven't been up on the news, but once I didn't even know it really got delayed until news said it was going to be a topic, and then I just smirked when I was like it got delayed. I just smirked because when it comes to the panel, I have probably been one of the most negative when it comes to this game. Like, I am not hyped for this game at all. I think I've said multiple times, I think Bethesda's biting off more than they can chew. This is going to be too big of an endeavor for them. Based on games that they've released in the past, I don't foresee this, being this, home run that they're claiming it's going to be. And I keep saying I want them to prove me wrong. I really want them to prove me wrong. So please, Bethesda, prove me wrong. But I look at your track record. I enjoy their games, but none of their games are great. They're fun to play. You can sink a ton of hours into Elder Scrolls easy, but when you look at the quality of Elder Scrolls games, they're not that great. They, it's just. But so I really want them to prove me wrong, that they're, stepping it up and they're going to go above and beyond and show us the kind of talent they actually have, instead of, doing what Bethesda does. They drop games that are partially finished and they depend on the mod community to fix them for them. I want them to prove me wrong, that they're not going to do that. Looking at the stuff from the game to me looks super empty. I don't know. There isn't really much going on from the stuff that I've seen. Nothing gets me excited. When I look at gamers and how they would feel about this delay, I feel like you guys probably feel the same way I do when it comes to Skull and Bones. I'm still waiting. So I get how the emotions will be for people who are excited for the game, but I couldn't care less. And I think I was probably, last time we spoke about this game, everybody was kind of giving their, best guess on when they thought this game was going to drop. And people were super optimistic about it coming out, before May. And I think I was like one of the only ones who was like, no, this game's not coming out. I would say if it came out, it would be after June. And it's coming out after June, folks. And September, it'll be great if it comes out in September, just so that way everybody can get hyped, because that's, we're the very beginning of, the fall busy drop season for gaming. So it'll be good to get it out right away before November, because November is when the big heavy hitters come out. If we even have any this year. I don't even know if we're going to have any this year. But we should have the big heavy hitters usually come out in November.
Yeah. The post-COVID thing's got to show up eventually, right?
Yeah. So we'll see what comes with that. But I don't know. At the same time, do you all
think this is a set date now? Like, this is it?
No, I really think it's not going to still come. Like I said, I have no faith, and I feel like it's going to get delayed again because this game is such a huge endeavor. And they're not. I really think they're going to delay it again.
For the sake of them keep saving face, this better be the final release date, because again, they're just putting themselves in an unnecessary position by just releasing a date if they're not sure about it.
Yeah.
Which then goes back to every time we talk about like E3 and like the Summer Games Fest and stuff, I always talk about how I'm tired of seeing games announced years in advance. Like, just tell me what's coming out within the next year. That's all I care about. Okay.
Mhm.
Because it's going to get delayed otherwise. So why get my hopes up for games that are, 3 years down the road? Like, I'm not going to see them in 5 or 3 years down the road. I'll be lucky if I see them in 8 years down the damn road. Just show me what's coming out this year and early next year, and that's it. Because otherwise, you're just getting everybody's expectations up just so you can, slam the door in their face saying, oh, sorry, maybe next year you'll get it. Like, stop wasting our time. Just focus on getting the game made, get it ready, and when you are damn sure it's ready, then frickin' announce and start promoting it months in advance that's coming out. And that's it. Stop doing all this. Like, I can get when investors push devs for early releases to push them when they come out before they're ready. But this is not the case. They have plenty of time to get this game done. That's why they're delaying it, so it's done, right? So if they delay it and September comes and it still doesn't look like it was ready, why?
Yeah.
Okay, you delayed it because it wasn't ready. So, but you better not release it while it's not ready, Yeah. And if you delay it a third time and it still releases and it's not ready, I'm sorry. Like there's a reason why I have no. You know what I mean?
No, I'm 100% with you. This has to be the one, and I think as well, like, you got to look at it from a Game Pass perspective. Right? They got everything now planned around this amazing service, but if they want to maximize subscriptions, they want to keep people invested. You gotta make sure that games are starting to come and they're coming at a clip. I mean, you see how quickly Netflix can lose millions of subscriptions as soon as like their shows die off and cancel and different things like that. I mean, it's sort of, I get it, it's different, but at the same time, like, that's one of the catches with Game Pass is that they have those like big ads and they go, Starfield, it's coming here and it's going to drop on this date. And you can only do that so many times before fans just kind of get, a little bit fed up. You're just like, I'm done. I start getting that meme in my head. You know, the one that you see, or like the guy's like on the racetrack and he's running and he looks behind, there's like nobody around. So I think he's going to get first place, sticks his hands up in the air, and all of a sudden, while he's slowing down, everybody's passing him. That's
And the thing is, Newf, that again, going back to what I was trying to say, it's not fair because everyone across the industry, it doesn't matter the publisher, the dev team, there are delays. It's widespread. We're going to talk about it in a little bit with Suicide Squad. So we understand that.
Oh yeah.
But the problem is that with Xbox, it's been kind of like a consistent thing. So if you have a delay here and there in between, that's okay. We're forgiving of those things, but it's kind of like their thing. So that's the stigma that I was trying to refer to. That they have to eliminate, and the only way by doing that is to consistently releasing, a year's worth of titles, and maybe when the year passes and you delay one, we'll be forgiving because all right, you guys came through with a bunch of dates that you promised. So that's the thing. It's the consistency is the issue here.
Makes you wonder how many games are well over budget now, right?
Games are crazy over budget. I also, Mr. Kima had made a comment in the chat about pre-orders, and I have to 100% disagree. Just because they open up pre-orders does not guarantee that game is still coming out. We've had plenty of games that had pre-orders that had pre-orders taken away because the games didn't come out. So no, a pre-order is not a, guess what? The game is 100% coming out. No.
Nope, and all the companies have done that. All the companies have done that.
So
the only thing a pre-order does is
the biggest tease is the pre-orders. The biggest tease.
Look at all the Halo Infinite pre-orders, for example.
But the only thing a pre-order does is help the companies know the metrics of who really is willing to pay for the game. That's it. That's all it does. Because when you don't have a pre-order, you don't have a metric to count. Pre-orders help count. And then this way they know how many they need to order from the developers or the publishers, and kind of go from there. It helps both sides on the metrics. Other than that, it's just a good thing for us to be able to say, yes, I own the game, but I haven't finished paying for it, and it's going to be coming out on this day, which can still be delayed. But we don't look at it like that. We just say, hey, this is when it's coming out because this is the date that they set. This is what I paid for. And it's not always the case.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have games been delayed? Oh, wait, not just delayed, canceled, completely shut down, even though there was a pre-order.
Yeah, I know it's an apples to orange comparison, but the gaming industry can learn a lot from the movie industry, where, for the most part, when a movie gets a release date, it's gonna come out on that date, because there's a lot riding on that. Okay, on the opening weekend, on a lot of that stuff. So I would like to see in the future, as time progresses, and hopefully they can learn how to use like Unreal Engine 5, right? It's supposed to be the next coming of Christ, right? I hope that it helps these developers be able to meet these, meet these games on a more timely basis.
But let me just say, though, when it comes to the movie industry, though, it's a bit of a different beast, because, like, basically for them, once the filming is done, the last part of it comes down to the editing, adding the special effects, and then basically the marketing, right? So they kind of do, like, they can kind of nail that a lot quicker, but with games, especially massive games of Starfield and stuff, that's just way harder to do because there's so many moving parts. Again, they might think that the game is close to completion, and all of a sudden a tester runs into a massive game crashing bug that requires like a complete retooling of maybe the way a level is played out, or lots of different things. Like, I think games are the one industry where it's not as cut and dried as the music or the movie industry, because again, there's the scale and scope. I mean, look at games. The average blockbuster game costs probably what, guys? 4 or 5 times as much as some of the major movies.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though. Typically, movies take around 2 years. All right. So when you look at that, pre-production takes 3 to 7 months. Okay. And as you keep going, you start realizing the principal photography is anywhere from 1 to 4 months. And yet again, it all depends on the type of movie. So when you put this into a game,
porn's about an hour and a half,
something like that. 5 minutes, 5 minutes, depending on the actor. Post-production is 7 months to a year. Okay, so this is after everything's done. Okay, so you have your post-production, and then you got to go through, and they sometimes they go back and refilm. Okay, but
they do reshoots and stuff. Yeah,
right. So let's just say post-production is 7 months to a year. When a game should be ready to, and that's before they actually start, giving you a date for a movie. Think about that. So they already know it's going to take you a total of 2 years, or give or take, depending on, what's going on, because again, they have delays too. They have to wait on the weather. They have to wait on timing and permits and this and that, depending on where they're at, because they have to shut down a city. You know what I mean? So all this stuff is pre-planned. Same thing with gaming. Gaming is the same thing, but they take a lot longer. So when you're talking about a game that could take 5 years in the making, right? How many times have we seen from every side, hey, here's an announcement for this game. It's already been in production for the past year or two. Well, we still got another 3 to 4 years to go before we even see anything of it. And yet we keep seeing these commercials to build up the hype, these little dev talks and this and that builds up the hype for such and such game. When reality, you're trying to nail down a specific date. It's very hard to do, even in the film industry, until you're closer to it. And then you can put it out there. That's why they know, okay, we want this to be a summer blockbuster. Okay, summer, so they know that they have to start before the summer. They have to be ready by the spring in case there's any more delays or touch-ups or added effects that they got to do, any filming, so anything else that anything happens, they have to be ready before that. And then they say, okay, we got a summer release because we are wrapping up here, and all this stuff is going to take time right here to finish. And here is our summer. Now, when can we do our summer date? Who else do we fight with to contend on a summer blockbuster date?
A recent example of that is The Flash is done and in the can, but they did all those test screenings to see if there was anything that needed to change. Because if they need to change anything in a superhero movie, it takes a shitload of time.
Right. See, and I've been to movie theaters where I watched the movie and I was like, all right, cool, that's pretty cool. And then months, if not year later, it's in the theater. I'm like, how the heck did I watch it? Because I had friends that worked there and they would get me into these screenings ahead of time, but they wouldn't tell me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're like, "Hey, you want to come? Let's go watch this movie." So we'd go sit there and
Yep.
watch the movie a year in advance before it got released.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So again, with games, they need to know, okay, this game will be wrapped up 100%, everything good to go, gold disc, 3 months to 6 months before they actually release it. Because how many times have we seen games go gold and then go back into development because technically they're all done. Now they got to fix bugs. They got to.
By the way, Crispy Rambo in chat makes a point. I was going to mention it too. There's a reason Todd Howard doesn't release much information on the Bethesda games until they're really ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And really, we don't see much info until, like you said, about 3 months out, we're going to start seeing.
That's a great point because you got to remember, coming in June, we're going to get a big showcase on this game.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
If you're going to get everybody fucking hyped in June, and you're going to come out and slap us with another delay after that,
yeah, boy. They're not. I don't see them doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if they're willing to show that much of the game come June, I think it's safe to say this thing is dropping on September.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Phil is into the studios with the guys and like, guys, I know games take time. Games come out when they come out, but I'm pretty sure he's kind of also like, guys, like, we've given you plenty of extensions. You've announced this already that it was going to come out last year. We missed our target. So like, that's nearly a year later. Something's got to happen, right?
And I understand, on the corporate side, they want to know when is it going to be done, and you can't tell your bosses when it's done. You tell the public when it's done, but you give your bosses a time frame. Hey, look, this is where we are in production. This is what's going on. This is our hiccups that we've resolved and are moving forward with and such. You don't want to give them all the bad news. You always want to give them the highlights of the directions, because you never tell your bosses bad news, because then
I got a question. I got a question for everyone, and this will be the last thing I say new about this topic. Does anybody, when Xbox releases their E3 this year, right? And let's say that they go with this 12-month window again, can we honestly sit here and say that we're going to believe them?
I don't think they're going to do a 12-month window again. I think they'll be more cognizant of that. I think they might say, yeah, these games are planned for the near future, but I don't think they're going to narrow it down anymore.
I mean, if they do, those games need to be coming out within 3 to 6 months, and then say, here's our 12-month window.
And that's what I'm talking about. The confidence isn't there right now. So that's the point that I was trying to make, right? They need to be consistent, guys. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
All the companies do it, not just Xbox. I mean, Sony's had it delays too. I mean, don't sit there and throw Xbox under the bus and go, it's
I got you, Paul. But the problem is, it goes back again, and it's not. It's tough love being shown on my part. But the problem is that it all goes back to what I'm trying to say. Even though it's true what you're saying, I believe you 100%. I know it. It's a fact. It's still not the public perception. So the public,
the public is stupid. I'm gonna be flat out and honest. I'm on Twitter every day. A lot of the public is just plain out stupid.
I understand, and I agree. I agree with that. I agree with that sentiment. But again, putting my business hat on for Xbox, I have to say, hey, you guys got to work harder than everybody else right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then what? You're we're gonna put Mountain Dew Code Red machines in every office, and we're all gonna work crunch. Yeah, that ain't gonna float now either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's tricky.
Part of it is, you do have to do the PR speak, but the other part of it is you have to be a little bit more realistic with your times, with what you say. We also got to remember certain things change. Certain factors will change the outcome. So even though, let's go back to the VR incident, right? They want to put VR on Xbox One X. Well, you know what they realized? Even if they did, it would be clunky. It would be a hassle, and they didn't want to deal with that, and they didn't want their customers dealing with that. But guess what? We still hear that popping up every once in a while. They promised us, VR, and it's like, no. They said that they wanted to do it, and then they said they changed their mind. But yet nobody wants to hear this stuff. That's part of it, that the public perception.
Yeah, because what he actually said is, when it's ready, when we feel it's ready, it will do it.
Yes, exactly.
And they don't feel it's ready right now.
But that's the thing, is public reception, right? I mean, my brother-in-law came over a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about, because I was, showing up my setup and everything, and he's a PlayStation fanboy. Come to find out, I got the PlayStation 5 before he did. He's the PlayStation fanboy. PlayStation can do no wrong, but yet, he still brings up 2013, and I'm like, dude, that's 20 years ago, man. Stop bringing this stuff up. This is nowhere near this anymore. And on top of that, he's the one that got the Spider-Man PlayStation that I wanted, that I was going to keep, but then I decided to let him have it. He sells it off. And yet he hasn't had one since, but he's still the quintessential PlayStation fanboy.
Oh man,
you see what I'm saying?
And you let him in your house? Holy shit, dude!
The wife has say over that, but but you see what I'm saying is there's still that public perception. He's not involved in gaming anymore, but he's still a PlayStation fanboy, and he's still bringing up stuff, and that's part of the public's perception. And that's where, credit to John Wolf, is the public's perception is this. Whatever Xbox is saying right now, they need to make sure that they change the public's perception, because it is still kind of tarnished.
Oh, absolutely. They do have some work to do. There's no question about it. We know that. I think they're quite aware of it, that they've definitely got some mountains to climb. And like I said, there's only so much time you can give anybody before your patience runs thin. And I think a lot of Xbox fans, which is why the frustration's there. And I know you got a lot of people saying ease back and stuff like that. And, sometimes I know we overreact to things, but are we necessarily overreacting at this point when, and John brings up a point, and it become consistent at becoming very inconsistent. And when you have, there's certain studios, sure, you're going to slip dates, but when you have so many of them, you need somebody to deliver. You need somebody to step up and say, yeah, we're ahead of schedule, we're on time, or we're going to do this. You know what I mean? And right now, it's there's very few underneath the Xbox stable that seem to be like kind of, like hitting those targets. Like the Coalition's probably been, and Playground have probably been two of their most consistent. Even this Forza delay, like is almost a little bit kind of, I don't know, really delay, because it hasn't even been announced. Okay, so I shouldn't say a delay, but like we all kind of thought we'd saw a release on Forza, because it's been a long time now. Like this is uncharacteristic for Turn 10 to be this far along. Now I know they obviously have some staggering heights on this game. We heard about some of the things that they're doing with the new game, and they want it to be, the Forza game that many of us expect. And that's hard when, Forza 7 was a pinnacle game, and Playground and themselves have come out and raised the bar time and time again. So, but yeah, like I've always said in this podcast, and I'll maintain it, and I like to keep a positive whim about me, and I'm very excited for the future of Xbox and the games that are coming. But,
Absolutely.
At the same time, it's a bit of a shit or get off the pot kind of deal. Like we can only give them so much before you're just like dudes. And in some cases, and it happens, you've got people out there selling their Xboxes and leaving the Xbox ecosystem. That's kind of stretching it, but that's the last thing you want, is people dropping subscriptions, getting rid of your consoles, leaving that ecosystem because they just had it. You know what I mean? Like, for some people, they don't care because they're excited about anything and everything. But there are other people that just they want, this is the game they're waiting for. And this is the game that's had 1 delay, 2 delays, 3 delays, 4 delays. And then you just kind of go, holy mother of God. Like I'm growing a beard over here. I'm getting, no offense, Dread. They're getting really old. You know what I mean? Getting long in the tooth. So I get where you're going.
Oh, hey, that should be no offense, Paul, getting old.
Yeah, you got a long beard and Paul's old. All right,
but
anyway.
this real quick, I just want to say this may also throw into what I've been saying all along too, is with the crowded release calendar, some of the stuff is going to get pushed back on purely, release calendar issues, not because it's not ready, but because we got to have space, and I think that's going to come playing into it as well.
Yeah, because I'm looking right now at the 23 Xbox Studios and what they have coming out, what they've worked on. A lot of it is working on is TBC, but you're not seeing very much of what's going on. Who was it? Compulsion, right?
Mm-hmm.
The last thing they released was in 2018.
Yeah.
If it's a 5-year turnaround, we should be seeing something soon. And I'm hoping that's the case.
5 years plus, give or take some time for the pandemic.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, just roughly.
Tomorrow has to turn into today. That's
and it will, and that's my whole thing is,
Yeah, I see. Once these games get to a certain point, because they have so many studios, excluding Activision, once that happens, they have so many studios. I mean, just with what they have now, floodgates will open. It's just the timing. They just got to get all that stuff built up. And it's just like putting gas in a car. Great, but you had to save out the money to get the gas, did you not? You had to save up enough money to be able to buy the car first. So some of the stuff has to fall in line, and I get it. We have to give them a little bit of leeway, but at the same time, we gotta step it up a bit and push back and not just anything they say, let it slide off our backs like water off.
They have to hear us. Yes, they have to hear us loud and clear, right?
And I think what gave this delay a little bit of leeway, a little bit of breathing room to be okay in the minds of gamers is because they released Hi-Fi Rush. They gave us something. So I think that bought them, a little bit of time. So it's stuff like that, you see, but they delivered on something. So they had our good graces, and then they gave us some bad news. You can't just give bad news all the time.
Yeah, at least they didn't give us Bleeding Edge 2.
I'm still finding that funny though, because they come out, they announce this game, they drop it, and everybody's talking about it, and then like a week later, like the Mizuki or Mataki or whatever his name is, I can never remember his damn name, but he's like, "Yeah, I'm retired now. I'm done." I was like, "What the hell?" Okay, well, fair enough, but it just kind of just struck me as funny. I started to laugh. I know, like, it probably wasn't wasn't intentional or whatever, but it's just like, "Yeah, I'm done with this shit."
I gave him a better deal. I offered him to make a Dreadpool game, and I think that's why he said he's going to retire and then shift over to me. That's what I'm saying.
My company has gone from making fantastic horror games that nobody bought to now finally making this musical rhythm action based game that is a Game Pass. That's where the world is gone. That's all good. I'm glad people are enjoying Hi-Fi Rush, man. I might have to try it out one of these days myself, but
it's on Game Pass. Oh,
that's right. As Nate says in the chat, and welcome in Nate, by the way, and all the people that are in the chat. He says, personally, I tried Hi-Fi Rush, and I think it's a quality game, but it isn't for me. And that's fair enough. I think it's a very unique game, but I know there will be people that won't like it. Paul likes the game, but doesn't like it for the lack of accessibility options, which is totally understandable. By the way, Paul, I had a comment after last week's show, because I think you brought that up, and somebody was in the chat on YouTube, and they were like, I don't know what's about this Paul guy, I can't play this game or something like that, and I had to reply to him. No, I corrected him very quickly, and then he kind of apologized because he didn't understand your situation. I think he just took it and ran with it, and I said, no, like, he has cerebral palsy. I said he has trouble with dexterity and movements and stuff like that, and he's like, oh, like, kind of
which is usually what happens. Yeah, they end up swallowing their tongue. Yeah,
they're like, oh, okay, I didn't quite get it. Yeah, but a lot of people just don't get the whimsicalness behind your name there either. It's kind of funny. But now the more you know. But anyway, guys, I think we've had enough of the Starfield now. I really don't want to even talk more about Starfield until at least after the showcase, and then by God, it better come out on September the 6th is all I'm going to say. So yeah, but anyway, it was a great conversation. Everybody had some great points. I think generally everybody is pretty damn excited. I think a lot of us are at least finally relieved that this does seem like at least light at the end of the tunnel. I don't see them. I really don't. I'm like 95% certain. I don't think they're gonna miss the next date line for this. Like I said, they're planning to showcase. I think they have enough of the game ready now that it's just like, we just got to put the finishing wrap on this and get it out to the public, and it'll be a big game that's going to tide us over. If it's as good as we hope it is, I think it's good. A lot of people are going to be playing this, much like people have been playing Skyrim. So just a constant go. So, and it should be a pretty big game. Excited for it. Catch up with the chat real quick. We got Ray Old or Ray Oid in here. What's going on? Splendifrous in the building. Talus Ray is here. Innate's in the building. Crispy Rambo here with us as well. Eternal Shadai still hanging out with us. My buddy Seamus is here as well. Lots of good people missing. No is in the building. We've got HDK. Brother HDK graces us with his presence this morning. Back from the Dead is here hanging out. Dan the Man Cunningham. We had Your Wicked Hot in the building earlier today. And then Nix is in the house. What's going on, Nix? Good to see you here. Casket Repair has been hanging out with us. A lot of great faces here. We're up to 42 viewers. Please hit that like, share, subscribe. I don't need to tell you twice. If you like the show, have liked what you've been hearing all along, or even if you've got issues with the show and perhaps want to leave us a critique or a comment in the chat, or in the comments after the podcast. And to those of you catching up on this podcast after the live show ends, I greatly appreciate the love and support. Guys, I'm still trying to get to 2K subscribers. Would love to do it, but definitely love to do it before the end of the year. But it's been a grind. I've said it time and time again. It's after 1,700, I hit a wall really hard. My face still hurts from it. And would like to see the numbers come up a little bit. But hey, I mean, maybe that's my fault. Whatever happened, maybe somebody just doesn't like that I kill gaming after dark, or maybe I just don't do enough content. I don't know. But either which way, I've always said I'm a firm believer. I don't like flooding people's timelines with my constant shenanigans. Maybe an extra show could help, but I don't want to have so many podcasts that people can't remember one from the other, because you're just in people's face all the time. But to each their own. Again, I run my channel the way I run it. But anyway, I love my panel. Love this podcast. Go ahead.
I was going to point out, speaking of gaming after dark, Vic showed up in the show I was on the other night.
Yeah.
And he purposely put in chat, make Paul say my name, because he knows what I'm going to say.
Yes, fair enough. Good old Vic the Click. What's going on?
Yes,
Royal
right.
Boyle. Yes, this is the G.
By the way, look at that message in the chat from Nate. I like that he said that speaks well to the show and to us.
Yeah, well, we like to keep it real here. I mean, anybody who knows me in particular knows that, my criticisms of Xbox, a lot of it is, I mean, there's part of it I think there's truth, but I think my criticisms in particular, and a lot of us probably are the same, that it's just when you've been an Xbox guy for so long, like it's been your console of choice since the original Xbox. And we're going back a ways now, right? I mean, 2001, essentially. Now, I mean, I was a little late to the Xbox game. I didn't jump in on the Xbox platform until about 2000, late 2003, 2004. By the time, I think it was the Halo 2 was kind of coming out, right? That's because I was into the PlayStation ecosystem, and I just say, like, this system was cool. Like, I don't want to go down history lane here. But, when you've invested thousands of hours of your life into their games, you've bought pretty much every piece of hardware you can think of, not to mention bought multiples. I mean, how many 360s did I own? It's too many to count. But you get a little bit more invested, I guess, than say the average player off the street that could care less. They go in and they buy their Fortnites and their Call of Duties. They get an Xbox, and it's just like, to them, it's just a piece of plastic that hooks up to the TV. A lot of us, we follow this. This is the reason we do podcasts. Anybody who does a podcast about gaming obviously has a different passion level than Joe Blow off the street that comes in and plays Madden for 20 minutes at a time and then could care less. You know what I mean? We are the fossil people, right? We are fossils, but that's why we're infested. We love it. But I also don't, a lot of us here, I mean, I love Phil Spencer. I love the group that they have at Xbox, but I don't feel them blowing smoke up their ass either. Like, if I feel like things need to get done, I'm going to say it. And Paul's going to say it. And everybody else generally that I associate with on my panels generally speak the truth. Now, or at least we speak, no, I shouldn't say the truth. We speak our minds. Because some of my opinions are they're not fact. I don't speak them as fact. They're just my opinions. And we all know that I'm a crusty old coot. And, some of my opinions are a little bit off kilter. But again, it's just my take. But anyway, I do appreciate people coming in and giving us honest feedback on the podcast like that they see that we are being sincere. I'm not making money from my channels. Like I'm not, I'm not getting free shit shipped to me all the time. So I'm going to blow smoke up everybody's ass because I'm getting free games and controllers and this, that. I don't trust a lot of that stuff. If you're always getting shit from free from companies, I'm sorry, there's going to be an immediate bias. You're never going to be 100% honest because a lot of them won't ship shit to you after a while. If you go, oh well, that game sucked. Oh, that controller sucked. This sucked. If
you'd be surprised.
Yeah,
you'd be surprised. There's a lot of games that suck, and we still get. We turn around. We're like, we're not going to talk about it, and and then we still get people come back and still send us games that are worthless, and we won't talk about it if it's not worth it.
And I get where Noof is coming from, and that's something. Look, from someone, I've been in part of this community for a few years now, right? Boom is who introduced me to the community, so shout out to Boom. That's something that sitting back and observing all the different podcasts and all the different interactions I see is that people automatically think that you are flipping, that you are fake, that you don't like Xbox anymore for some reason. If you just give them some criticism, it's not the way that the world works. It's like Noof explained, it's a relationship that we built throughout 20 years.
I'm going to say on record, I bought this piece of shit Xbox mini fridge, okay? And I'm going to tell you, that's how diehard I am. Because this fucking thing is a piece of crap, okay? I'm sorry, but it's not very good. It's better as a disc holder than it is as a drink cooler. I'm going to tell you that right now. It looks cool. I love it. Everybody goes, "Ooh, you got a fridge?" But this thing's garbage. And I paid $150.
I had that exact same refrigerator, Noof.
Yeah.
And mine works fantastic. I don't know why.
What?
I think you got 11, bro.
After 20 minutes, you got a big ice buildup dripping down, and it keeps.
No, I have none of that.
Like, what?
None of that.
Well, I must have got a faulty one because mine looks like Frosty the Snowman had a shit inside of it after 5 minutes.
Yours was the Canadian issue. Yours was the Canadian issue.
Yeah, it's like frost on the top, and the drink's like, okay, you got to put a cold drink in to keep it lukewarm after a while.
Yours is
what's going on?
Free health version.
Hey, I must have got the dumb version. So I must have got the.
You got the Serious S. You got the Serious S
apparently. Yeah. This one's got lots of teraflops. Yeah, like my drinks and yeah. Oh my god. Anyway, it's got more power than the Nintendo Switch. Anyway, did you know that?
Yeah. In the end, what I think the most important thing is, we've all seen what happens to people, not let alone companies, when you have a whole bunch of yes men. They think that they can do no wrong and everything is yes, 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 yes. And they just keep going and they push the limits and go beyond when they should have people telling them, look, this is not a great idea. This is not a good thing. Yes, this is a good idea. We should head in this direction. And that's basically what we're doing. We're respectively critiquing companies. We're respectively using our opinions, but keeping it, again, respectful. There's a difference between, can we say, is it early enough? This is shit. You know what I mean? You said it just hit me. You said it.
Go ahead.
First. So, you're saying this is shit. Well, why? Well, this gameplay doesn't work out. The actions, the motions doesn't fit right. That's different than this is shit. And then you move on.
Well, yeah, you can back.
There's a difference there. Yeah. And then you also don't want, like I said, you also don't want the yes man going, oh yeah, this is great. Yeah. As you're doing that.
Right. Yeah.
No. Be specific. Be critical on certain things, but obviously have an understanding of why certain things, because sometimes they make a judgment that you don't know. And yet you're going to critique them and bash on them and base them on all this stuff that you have no idea of until later on. I mean, Scalebound, right? That was Xbox's fault, wasn't it? No, they kept it to themselves. They took the beating for years, and then you found out that it wasn't them, it was the other company. And I'm not going to name them because I could care less about them. But you know what I'm saying? They're the ones that screwed up. They took the money and put their money elsewhere. But Xbox took it right there and let you lambaste them instead, as opposed to, putting it where, I would have said, hey, you know what, they screwed up. We gave them this, we gave them that, we gave them extra time. They screwed up, and they, we feel like they put their money in these other games that are critical hits, and yet ours still has yet to be productive of anything.
Yeah.
So again, that's where it needs to be, and that's why you don't want a whole bunch of people agreeing with each other. That's why we all have our own opinions, and we still argue amongst ourselves with our opinions.
Yeah. No, absolutely, man. Like I said, this podcast stuff and everything is all opinion. But I think sometimes, and I guess it all depends on your chat groups and the people too, right? Like I got to say that one thing I've always been very, very fortunate is that I have a very good chat. I have very good followers. Not only do they come out weekly, but like if you notice my chat, and maybe it's because my channel is just not big enough, but like there's no hate, there's none of that, there's no BS going on here. Let me look how good this chat's been. And I've always said, you can disagree with me. I'm not kicking you out of my chat because you don't like Xbox or you disagree with me. I'll kick you out if you're being disrespectful or you're causing trouble. If you're being a troll, you're getting the boot. There's no question about it. But if you can come in here, have a respectful conversation, and like Dread said, if you're going to hate on something, at least supply the arguments as to why you don't like it. Not just, I hate something or I don't like something. And the most overused comment in the entire community for years, and probably still is, that's trash. Honestly, when I hear that's trash now, I want to take somebody's face and literally put it in the trash.
See, there's nothing wrong with civil discord.
Trash. It's trash. It's trash. Oh my God, you're trash. Like, at least give me reasons why you think it's trash. Because a lot of times, if Metacritic doesn't deem it a 9, everything's trash. I mean, when did we go from games getting rated freaking 8s to being trash? That's what I want to know. 8's a pretty damn good number. And the one thing the community entirely needs to start getting their head around is there are how many games released every year? Do you know how many, the portion of games that get Metacritic scores that are 90 and above is very, very small? And game ratings is so subjective because one person might think that Wulong is 9.5 and the next person's going to play the game and go, well, I've played much better games than that. This game's 7.5 or 8. Again, it's always subjective. I'm never going to like turn-based RPGs like most people like them. I can't stand that format, right? But I'm not going to trash the game because I can't play it or I don't like it. Like I've never trashed a Souls game because I'm crappy at them. I think they're amazing games. I keep saying I wish I could play them and I wish I could enjoy them like Axel enjoys them. But I'm not a masochist and I don't like punishment. If I can't beat a boss, if I'm at a boss for 15 minutes and he ain't going down, I'm telling you that game, it's not trash, but it's going in the trash. You know what I mean?
Basically, I think you just said that Axel's into self-flagellation, but that's all
That's a opinion.
Axel's a very determined individual, apparently. He just likes to go in there and smack and get smacked.
I can't take it. The game cannot beat me. I refuse to lose to the game.
Boy, his audio is really choppy to me.
Yeah, your audio is taking more punishment than some of the
players. I think you're
it's like crackling. Like, anyway, it's a great show. Everybody, like I said, you guys are amazing. And like I said, that's part of it. Like this whole community gets wrapped up sometimes in the whole console war toxicity, and sometimes it just goes too far. We all have fun with it time to time. I love seeing the memes on both sides. I love seeing guys throwing out those crazy PlayStation memes and guys throwing Xbox memes and stuff. You know what I mean? Like I'll laugh at that shit because sometimes it's just damn right funny. And I think a lot of times too we base opinions on what we see. Like even you watch certain podcasts and we make a judgment on a panel member based on like a small portion of what you see, and it's like that person's probably not really like that. I know lots of guys that the community hate, but I've talked to them and I'm friends with them outside of podcasting, and they're fantastic people to talk to behind the scenes, and they love gaming. It's just you see that one side of them, being, I guess, what you call sensationalism, I guess is the way you want to put it, and that's their shtick, or that's how their channel is perceived. But in reality, they're not like that. It's unfortunate. That's like people look at me sometimes. They think that I'm just this big old asshole for whatever reasons. Perhaps I am, but anyway. Let's bring her back into the fray. And somebody's mic's got an amazing howl.
I think that's Axel. He's too sensitive. His mic
feedback sounds like feedback.
Yeah, it's like a Yeah,
I can hear him clicking.
Speaking of feedback, let's bring it right back itself. Coolcat Terri's back in the building after more
back.
technical issues.
Oh my god, dude! I uninstalled my Realtek driver because it's crap, and I'm going to use the default Microsoft one because the Realtek one keeps failing me. So.
Sir, see, Terri's giving us a reason as to why her audio driver is crap.
It's crap. All right.
Trash.
It's trash.
It was weird because like all of a sudden I just stopped hearing everybody talking, and then I switched over to the YouTube and I could hear it. So then I left here, and then as soon as I left here, I could no longer hear on YouTube either. And I'm like, you know what? Screw this.
Oh my god, look at Splendiferous. Oh my god. See, this is why I love the chat. They're freaking hilarious.
No,
Anyway, we are well over. Terry, do you wish to do your indie spotlight?
Yes, I would really like to do it before my audio decides to crap out again.
Okay, let's let her get in here now. We'll take a little bit of a break while she does the indie spotlight. Then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the other delay that is the Suicide Squad. Are they hung out to dry? We'll find out in a bit. But let's get over to Coolcat Terri. Coolcat Terri in the indie spotlight.
Woo!
Woo!
Oh my god, it says I can't access my screen. Why can't you access my screen? Oh my god, everything's just broken today.
Wow, we may not have an indie spotlight today.
Just do it. Just do it. Yeah, it doesn't want to pull up my screen. It's refusing. You know what? Here, I'll give it to somebody else to freaking play the damn thing.
Okay.
Piece of crap.
She's going to send it over. I'll take you off the big screen here.
Mm-hmm.
And,
more problems.
Third word. What was it? First world problems, people. First world problems. All right. Axel's having audio issues. Terry's been having audio issues. Anybody else having issues?
If you could play that for me, Noof, I would appreciate it.
Okay, where is it at here? Where'd you send
Private
it?
chat.
Aha, the private chat. Okay, hang on. Okay, let's bring this up here. So I have to click on the link. All right, hang on here. I got to pause it. Hang on. All right, so let me just bring it up here, Terry. Sorry, I'm just kind of mesmerized here. Let's present. Share screen.
I swear we're professionals over here and we know how to work things.
Okay. All right. Do you still want to do your intro or should I just play it?
Just full screen play it. That's fine.
All right, here we go. We're going to full screen play it for you guys. Did it happen?
You have it muted.
What? Is it playing?
No.
Oh.
And it does say that it's muted.
Okay, hang on a sec here. I can't figure out where I'm at. Oh, hang on. Oh, here we go. Now it says mute, unmute. And did I get rid of it already? Oh, here we go.
And full screen.
Why is it not putting full screen?
You can click on full screen on the video. All the way to the right.
Well, his audio doesn't sound right either, but
What's going on here?
yeah, that audio didn't sound right. Sorry, you guys. Audio issues all around today.
At least you're not going to get demonetized for the music.
This is
Trash!
Can you imagine Todd Howard trying to show Phil Spencer the presentation and this shit's happening? Yeah, like I said, we're gonna have to delay it, Phil.
Well,
That
you guys will have to search the game and you guys can watch the trailer on your own PCs and hopefully the audio will work on your end. But Severed Steel, everybody! It actually has a really good soundtrack. It's decent. And the gameplay's really cool. So it's a single player FPS. You know, it's got destructible levels. It's got some really sweet bullet time events that happen in the game. So you guys can enjoy yourselves with it. It's available on all platforms. However, it is on PC, but it's not on Steam. You have to go to I think GOG has it, and I think maybe Epic Games has it, but Steam is still waiting to get it. But the storyline is 3 hours long. The 6 hours if you include side questing, and if you want to just like 100% do everything, it'd take you about 10 hours. So it's not a super long game. Mm-hmm. So this one is great for people who just do not have time to invest in a game, and you just want to have a good time and actually be able to complete a game. This is that game. All right. And it's $25 on all platforms right now.
Okay. So you have it, guys. Severed Steel. Go pick it up, a copy. I tell you what, Terry, next week, if you're here and your audio is working properly, perhaps you do a back-to-back Indie Spotlight next week. Maybe run that one again, just so we give it a chance to enjoy a little more spotlight than had.
It's just everybody's having problems today for the most part. Almost everybody.
Maybe it's a StreamYard or internet thing. Everybody's kind of just audio is all over the place today. What's going on here? Speaking all over the place, is that? Oh, there he is. Axel is back. Okay.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me now?
Oh, yeah, crystal clear.
Crystal clear, brother. All right.
And your voice.
Sorry, I had to stop a bunch of background processes from Edge. Just loaded it up.
Okay, like stop surfing porn surfing porn during the show. Stop, just save it for later.
He's
Pornhub will be there when we're done.
Yeah, he's over there playing Wulong in the background. That's what it is. Fantastic. Again, to the chat, you guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out with us again. Coolcat Terri in the Indie Spotlight. Again, we'll probably rerun it again next week if all goes well. And but anyway, let's move right along as we are closing in almost on the 2-hour mark of the show. It's insane where does the time go. Let's talk about the Suicide Squad. I know on one of our recent shows we talked about the reaction to the to the extended trailer, I guess, of the game, and it's largely been, I'd say, based on the community, the comments, and everything I've read and seen throughout the community, the response has not been overly favorable. Now, I don't know if that's essentially by design, because I think I think part of the problem is just the Suicide Squad is not an overly, again, this is my opinion. It's not an overly engaging cast of characters. Like, even the movies did not come out and light the world on fire, both of them. So they did it twice. And while the second one was definitely a hell of a lot better, again, they're not touching the Marvel category or anything like that. And it's just the characters. I mean, people from watching the trailer, a lot of people say they didn't care at all about Captain Boomerang and, all that sort of stuff. So, and then, of course, I think most importantly, like, I could probably play the game. It looked fun in a lot of areas. And like I said, there's some interesting characters. But the game, again, devolving around more emphasis on colored weapons and loot crates. And again, as soon as you start hearing a game like this having a battle pass, you kind of get like, okay, we're going down this route again. So it looks like now it's been delayed indefinitely. We don't know when. They're even saying now it could potentially slip well into 2024. And again, here's another studio that put out numerous games in the Batman series within a decent time frame. And then they've been how long now? It's been since the Xbox One, early in the Xbox One generation. Or did they even make a game yet on the Xbox One? Rocksteady?
Yeah, they released Batman Arkham Knight.
Arkham Knight was 2015, okay? So think about that. This is 2023 now. That's a long time in between releases. And here they are having to go down the rabbit hole and delay this even further. So I want to find out from everybody here, what's your trajectory on Suicide? And let's bring in our guests to kick it off. Let's go with Mr. John Wolf. Man, are you disappointed? Could you care less? What's going on here?
Okay, so the product that they showcased in that PlayStation showcase, I thought that for what I guess they were going for the type of game that it is, to me it looked fun. It looked like there's a lot going on, and honestly, it kind of looked like Crackdown 4. I know a lot of people have been saying that, but I guess the art style or whatever, it reminds me a lot of Crackdown, so I do agree with that. But the problem here, you hit the nail right on the head. Rocksteady. If it was any other studio making this game, I think that this game would get a pass, right? But knowing that Rocksteady, knowing the pedigree that we're working with here, Batman, the Arkham series that completely revolutionized, in my opinion, superhero genre. Okay, it's disappointing to see, at least for myself. I was expecting something that was not, Destiny-esque, but more in line with the Arkhamverse, right? So I think that the biggest challenge that this game has is not only that it's fighting the free to play model, the loot shooter type, other games out there, and kind of like that perception that gamers have on those type of games nowadays, but also the fact that within the game you are the characters that you least want to be. I don't want to be the shark dude. I want to be the Flash. You know what I'm saying? I want to be Superman. So the game has a lot going against it, and it didn't help itself by presenting, it by the showcase basically saying, hey, this is basically Destiny with DC characters slapped on it, and I think that they're doing a huge disservice to Rocksteady by I don't know. I'm not gonna say WB Games is forcing them to make this game. Maybe Rocksteady came out and they said, "Hey, we believe that we can make a game, Destiny-esque, and we think we could be successful." But it is disappointing to know, for the number of years that Rocksteady has been working supposedly on this game, to know that there's been rumors that they were going to make a Superman game, to hear rumors that they were going to make a Justice League game, and this is what we're going to get. So I think that that's the tough pill to swallow here. But in hindsight, I guess we can say, you know what, they heard the feedback and they're going to delay it indefinitely. Does that mean that I really don't think that WB Games is going to scrap this game completely. Maybe they just want to take it away for a little while so that the kind of like the bad media goes down, and then they'll release it again, and then they'll showcase it once again in a different format. But it's just, for me personally, again, it's very disappointing to know that this is the product that Rocksteady is going to release after so many years.
Well, let me put it this way to you, right? Like you just said, you want to play as a Superman, you want to play as the Flash. I'm the same way. Like I want to play as comic book characters that I know, adore, and love. Now that's going to be different for everybody, but these are iconic characters. These characters have been around for decades, right? And the Flash has never really had his own game. Superman hasn't really had many games, and certainly good ones. So there's a couple of, Wonder Woman is supposed to have a game coming out. And then even when it comes to bad guys, right? When you're going to play a bad guy in a game, because the Suicide Squad are technically the bad guys, usually people that Batman beats up and takes down. As I said, like I don't really find them that intriguing. They're not the bad guys I want to play. Like if you gave me a game where maybe I was the Joker, or I was, Darkseid, or somebody like of a different ilk than these weirdos, I guess you could say. Like, cause I find in the grand scheme of things, the Suicide Squad just feels like a bunch of weird ass misfits. And honestly, even just the whole choice of bringing these guys to the screen in a game still baffles me. You deal with Batman, probably arguably DC's biggest name franchise, and then you could go any other route, but you pick the Suicide Squad. To me, off the bat, I gotta ask myself, and I gotta ask you guys in the panel, did anybody here go after the Batman games go, God, I really want to see a Suicide Squad game?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Right? And tell me in the chat, did anybody go and say, man, I wish somebody'd make a Suicide Squad game? I bet you there's not one person on the panel or in the chat. Now, how many people in the panel or chat say, I would have liked to see a Flash game or a Green Arrow game or a freaking Superman game or anybody like that? Sure. But then they do this. So right off the bat, you kind of go, why? Whose idea was it to think that everybody wants to play? I could see if you had the Suicide Squad in a level of a game, much like, remember the reaction we got when we played Halo 2 when we played as the Arbiter? And some people absolutely hated it.
Or Raiden in Metal Gear 2.
And then also we got Halo 5.
Just so you know real quick, I think part of the reason is Harley Quinn is the hot property right now.
Oh.
They could just make a standalone Harley Quinn game, and that would
which might have been better. But I'm just saying that I think that was their driving, was Harley Quinn is a very hot property right now.
Well, I think that in the movies is why the game, because of the movies. Harley Quinn was basically the draw for the movies, and again, instead of just having Harley Quinn, they brought in everybody. Well, a collection of people.
Yeah, they wish they had known that after the Harlequin movie came out and tanked. They were just like, oh boy.
And understanding that though,
but the cartoons on DC for Harley Quinn and her comic books are doing fire. So it's
and understanding all that though, right? It's again what they showed. I think was I'm not gonna say it's like we were saying earlier, trash. It's not trash what they showed. It's an actual functioning game that looks somewhat fun, right? But when you really think about who the team behind this is, and what they've done in the past, it's kind of like, imagine if all of a sudden Naughty Dog was going to release a game like this. You would kind of scratch your head and be like, really? From these guys? You know what I'm saying?
So did I see a lot of jumping and flying in that game? A lot of aerial traversal. I'm thinking these guys don't strike me as aerial people.
They're not. They're not.
So why aren't we on the ground? Like, stuff like that makes no sense. It makes about as much sense as the Hulk being about as pussyfoot as you could get him in the Avengers game.
I mean, Harley Quinn's got like her gymnast skills, but even then, she wouldn't be flying around through the air.
Yeah, and just like a big shooter to me. It was just like, okay, it went from, I mean, one thing with the Arkham Knight games that stood out for everybody loved Arkham. Arkham Knight was one of the games, or the Arkham series was one of the games that did like combat really good. It had a meaty feel to it. You felt like Batman. It had, you guys know what I mean? Like, it was fluid. It had great traversals and stuff. And this game now it's just like, hey, like bullet sponge enemies and bouncing through the air.
Yeah, I feel the same way as you.
I don't know. But anyway, I don't mean to jump in there, but yeah. So
I mean, if I get because I'm not a Superman fan, if I can get a really good cinematic shot of my character freaking giving a 1-2 punch to Superman's jaw, I will be pleased.
Well, I hope your character's strong, because that was gonna hurt.
I just want to be able to punch Superman in the face.
Yes, Fahim Scott says, first of all, this is a bunch of bad guys forced to do good things. Yeah, we get the shtick behind them, but at the same time, it's just like when you're dealing with a game that takes 5 and 6 years, like that's a long time to fester a game that might come out and be a flop to begin with, especially all the development time and all that money. And again, like I said, it's one game can build a studio's reputation, and one game can kill it. CD Projekt Red comes to mind.
Real quick, I have a question for the panel, because I have not been able to do this. Has anybody shown a source for this outside of Jason Scherer?
Source of what?
Of this rumor that they're getting delayed. Has anybody been able to show a source outside of Jason's story? Everything goes back to Jason and Bloomberg.
Warner Brothers has reportedly delayed Suicide Squad yet again.
Who said that? Where'd that come from?
Will Shanklin on Engadget.
Right, and does he source where he heard it from?
Because
every article I've read sources it back to Bloomberg, which is Scherer. Yeah, which is Scherer. They all go back to one source, Schreier. Yeah, which.
Let me ask you this though: would you be surprised?
I mean, the thing is that I don't think that the reception right now is too good. We've seen the hate. The thing is that again, I'm a lifelong comic book reader, and I'm telling you, it's not believable to me that the Suicide Squad can take down Superman. I'm sorry, like
right.
No day
of all the people, right? Of all the people, you're gonna give the Suicide Squad to take him down.
I mean, Batman can kill him.
Well, if given the right tools, they could, just like with Batman. Given the right tools, they can.
That's a stretch, but I guess.
No, because Batman does it can do it with Kryptonite, which he always keeps. And same with, and if you want to tell me Amanda doesn't have access to those kind of tools, yeah.
Brandon in the chat has a good point. He goes, if it wasn't true, do you think Warner Brothers would probably have come out and stated something?
But none of the websites have changed their release dates or anything, and no, not necessarily.
Okay.
So Paul,
and Jason isn't always 100% correct. We know that.
That.
Yeah, the problem is nobody's spoken against it.
Yeah. So
not speaking against it doesn't make it true. That's what I'm trying to get through to people's heads.
Yeah, I get you.
Usually when there's a rumor like that, a false rumor, companies would speak up against it.
Not always. We know that from
Xbox
history
does it all
too.
the time. Xbox
They
doesn't
not,
speak on
but they
rumors
don't. But they don't always squash it the day after it happens or whatever. Or sometimes it takes them, how they want to.
It's
So
been a
no,
minute.
I'm not. See, everybody's buying this at face value that it is happening. All I'm saying is people should take a step back and look at the source and go, well, maybe, but not everybody. Every headline I see says, or show I listen to now says, oh, this is happening. We don't know that. Everything is going back to a single source, unnamed source, somebody with direct knowledge of, and everybody biting it like it's reality. And I think that's part of the problem with the gaming press right now is everybody wants to bite on that one thing. And trust me, if they're right, they're right. But if they're wrong, nobody's going to say shit.
Paul, did you forget everybody's about clicks?
Yeah.
That's not a gaming issue. That's anything that has an article. People will run with any kind of thing
And I see
without it being officially reported.
And I see what
that's just people.
I'm looking at the website. The website still states 5/26/23.
I know. So does their Twitter feed.
So I get where Paul's coming from. The only thing is that what I think really hurt this game is the Avengers. I think that the Avengers really hurt the confidence in the fans' hearts to say, damn, I don't know, man, that Avengers game kind of flopped. Is this kind of like more the same?
I don't know. Like when I think about this game, I don't think about Avengers at all.
I think of Borderlands.
Okay.
But again, as a company, if you see something like that, you would normally, not comment on rumors. But if someone's saying something that could hurt your franchise, like a delay, I would see them speaking up against it.
Not always. I mean, not
always,
because we're basically 2 months out of the scheduled release date according to the website and the Twitter and all that stuff.
It's only been a few days. So again, it's just I would expect
to
see something
salt,
soon.
right?
They're not going to respond to every rumor that people create, and if anything, this is giving them free publicity because everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, it's free publicity, and if it comes out on their scheduled date, they look more the better. Oh, look, they did make their April date.
Good point. Yep.
But yeah, I don't think about Avengers at all when I think about this game. Like I talked about it on one of our previous shows when we talked about this game. For me, it's the thing that's putting me off is this game. They claim it's in the same universe. It's a successor to the Arkham games, but yet it doesn't look or feel anything like the Arkham games. So
that's a great point.
That's what's turning me off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, and I see, as a noob, I would see that Gotham Knights would be the successor to the Arkham games. This would not be that. I would see this would be something different, especially seeing that the looks are different. Granted, we know that it's coming from Rocksteady. I'm just saying, as a noob on the outside looking at it, they wouldn't know anything. They would know that there'd be a tie-in or an association with it.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the delay is not going to happen. I'm just saying that people need to learn to temper their reactions to these kind of things when it comes from a single source, and every article goes back to that one single source who is, he's not perfect by any means. I mean, there's a lot of stuff he's missed.
From it.
Ask all of us that are blocked by him how often he's been called out on missing shit.
Well, that's the thing is critical thinking. We have to reestablish critical thinking. Take everything with a grain of salt. Figure out what you think from all the information. And yet again, that's where you change your thoughts and your opinions based on the information given. This is the information given. This is where our thoughts are. But at the same time, it's only been a few days. Once the information comes out, and like I said, I would expect Warner Brothers to say something against that, only for the fact that, hey, look, this isn't good for us.
Or they'll go the other way and they'll update the release dates on their Twitter and the website and all that other stuff. But until that happens, we don't know for sure.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We got a super chat coming in real quick from our good friend Splendiferous. Go ahead, Axel. You can do the honors.
Splendiferous drops $2. He says, I'm waiting on my Spawn game and Green Lantern game.
Hey, that Green Lantern 360 game was fire. I'm just saying. Okay.
Yeah, actually, it was. It was really good.
Yeah, it was actually really good.
Yeah.
No.
The Suicide Squad. I'm just going to jump in here, right?
Go ahead, man.
The Suicide Squad is actually a fairly big property of DC if you really look at it. It started in the 90s, late 1990s. Not late 1990, sorry, like late 1990.
Yeah.
And it's basically the Task Force X, and yeah, they do deal more in the Batman universe than any other universe. They're not necessarily in the Flash universe or in all those other universes, right? The Arrowverse or anything like that. They tend to be more around the Batman level bad guys. This is why you get people like King Shark and Deadshot, Harley Quinn. It is interesting that they throw Captain Boomerang in there, because I do feel that Captain Boomerang could essentially one-shot Batman. I'm not going to lie. Captain Boomerang has always been portrayed as a pushover in the series and in the animated movies, but he's fairly overpowered in comparison. He has access to the Speed Force. He can make boomerangs out of nothing. He has his gadget boomerangs. He's got pretty deadly aim. So he is.
Yeah, you know why I think they chose Captain Boomerang? Because they already had the Batarang mechanics in the engine.
That could be it. That could very much be it.
And they went, "Hey, who else do we have who can throw shit like that?" Okay, yeah.
Captain Boomerang having the Speed Force just as much as the Flash can.
Yeah.
And so when you get a speedster going, I think it's been proven time and time again that the Flash is the fastest man in the DC universe, and you got someone that can almost match him. That's pretty overpowered. So nobody asked for a Suicide Squad game. Absolutely not. I would rather have another Arkham game, another Batman game, a Superman game, for Christ's sake. But when you're looking at making a service game, which, when this game would have started, 6-7 years ago, development, 2015, service games were live service MMO style games were all the rage. So, of course, WB wanted their own. And it makes sense to me to do it with the Suicide Squad, because you can kill off characters and throw in new bad guys in there all the time. There's so many. There's far more characters in DC's Rogue Gallery than there is their superhero gallery.
Yeah.
So you can add in so many more characters into it. And you can even add bad versions of the same characters, Reverse Flash, people like that into it. So maybe you will get.
Give me a Batmite game. Oh wait, no.
What?
Batmite.
Batmite. Oh my god.
Hey,
if Condiment Man does not make it into the Suicide Squad DLC,
that's right. I want to speak to Phantom, and then now, okay, those other journalists, Jeff Grubb and them, all they did was they circled back to Jason. If you go read the articles, they actually just circle back to what Jason said. They are not actually confirming what he said. They're just circling back to what he said.
Yeah. So the Suicide Squad game, nobody asked for it. Am I going to play? Absolutely, I still am. I think it looks awesome. And yeah, there is a lot of aerial combat and combos and stuff. But, when you can run up a building and jump off said building like the Flash can, Captain Boomerang can do that too. Just throwing that out there. And the only reason I know a little bit about Captain Boomerang is because I like the Flash, so I do follow some of his rogues, and Captain Boomerang is one of his major rogues.
Yeah, Axel, I think that the Suicide Squad game, look, it's not really the issue. I don't think that that's the root cause of the problem here. I think the root cause is it's Rocksteady, and this is not the type of game that you expect Rocksteady to release. If this was a brother or sister studio at WB Games, I don't even think this would be a conversation. Hey, just release the game, and if it's fun, it's fun. But it's Rocksteady we're talking about, and I think that's why it's being scrutinized even more.
I agree with you that Rocksteady has the reputation, but that also is the big reason why I'm not overly worried about it, because Rocksteady has the reputation. I mean, outside of Arkham Knight, name a bad Rocksteady game, and that Arkham Knight was not that bad.
No,
to me, Arkham Knight just leaned too heavily on the car, and I can't play that part of the game. But you know,
The car was good until you got in all those damn tunnels.
yeah.
Yeah, no. That's all I'm saying is, Rocksteady redefined the superhero genre for back in the 360 days. That is still, it went all through this 360. It went all through the Xbox One. I mean, Spider-Man basically copied their formula.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Don't say that. How
they
dare
did.
you.
They
There's
did. I'm
lots of
sorry, they did.
comparisons. There are a lot of comparisons with when the Spider-Man came out. A lot of them.
Yeah.
Well, everybody
And not
borrows
to
from
say
each
that
other.
Spider-Man is a terrible game. It's not. It's fantastic because it followed that Rocksteady formula, right? And maybe Rocksteady is looking, because of what happened with Arkham Knight, they're looking to revamp that formula again. And I swear to God, if that Nemesis system is not in there, I'm going to be so pissed. I love the Nemesis system.
I mean, I do applaud those guys for doing the co-op stuff, right? I mean, because that's one thing a lot of us said when we played the Arkham series. Wouldn't it be cool, like, if you had a friend to play co-op, and even better if it's 3 or 4 players? Which means obviously you got to make a lot of design choices that are going to facilitate that. So,
yeah, and the Rocksteady didn't do it, but Gotham Knights basically did that, and I took full advantage of it. Me and my friends played Gotham Knights and had a blast beating up bad guys together. The combo moves you could do, the fun you could do, the fact that you could move around the whole city, take on several crimes at the same time, take on bosses. It was a lot of fun. I had a really good time playing Gotham Knights.
But in the back of your head,
you bashed it, but I don't see why.
In the back of your mind, though, were you thinking, "I wish I was Batman"?
No, not really. I'm not one of those gamers that kind of is a wishy guy, like, oh man, this would be so awesome if it was this, which is something completely different. I take games for what they are. Like, I'm playing Wolong, and Wolong reminds me a lot of Ninja Gaiden, and I'm not saying, man, I wish this was Ninja Gaiden. I don't do that. I just kind of take it for at face value what it is. It was advertised as Gotham Knights was advertised as the sidekick game where you get to play the sidekicks, and that's what I took it as. Never once did they ever say, hey, it's just like Batman. No, never once did they say that.
That's a good point.
And because they never said it, I never expected it. Like, I'm not going to put an unrealistic expectation on something that was never said. Now, do I want another Batman game? Absolutely, I do. Batman is my favorite superhero. Full stop. Just, he is. Do I want another awesome game from Batman in the Arkhamverse? Yes, absolutely, I do.
And rest in peace, Kevin Conroy.
Yeah, rest in peace, Kevin Conroy, man. He's the definitive Batman voice. So yeah, that's just my 2 cents.
Absolutely. Does anybody else have more sense to add to the panel? Go ahead. Anybody wants to jump in? We'll finish up this conversation. Try to get everybody out of here. We do have one more light topic, but we're gonna keep that one short. Any further things on Suicide Squad for anybody who hasn't a chance to chime in?
The only thing I have to say is, just because we saw some video and it doesn't appease us, we don't know how it plays yet. So you never know. You might change your mind. There's a lot of games that can put you off, and until you play them, you may think differently. And that's the other thing is they have a caliber of style of games that they play, and maybe they decided to change it up a bit. They got tired of the same old. There was the same thing expected of them every single time. And just like bands, do you want to listen to the same song on a different album, or do you want them to grow and create something more and better and be a bigger band? It's like sometimes the super fans don't want their favorite band to go, I don't know, let's call it, be a sellout, but that's the whole point, isn't it? To be bigger and better every single time. You have to try something new, and sometimes they put out albums that you might not like, but you know what? It's an album that everybody likes.
So unless you're Metallica.
Yeah.
No one likes new Metallica.
I don't like new old ever Metallica.
Right, but I'm
thinking it's the best band in the world.
I'm thinking Korn with their first album. you know, and it was a badass album. And then they came out with the second one. Not everybody got into it, but guess what? More people got into it, even though the originals weren't into it, because they're like, we want more of the old style. And they came back later on with harder corn. You know what I mean? But yet again, they kept on pushing and changing their sound and keep, you know, it's still the same band. It's still the same sound. It's just it matures. Same thing here. These games have been pushed out over and over again. They're the same thing for the most part. How about letting them mature a little bit and seeing what they provide us? You know, maybe we just don't see what they see because we've yet to play it. And all we're doing is we're seeing it from one side. And, you know, whether Schreier is saying one thing or WB's not saying the other, who cares? We just got to, you know, again, be a little critical on what we say, because, yeah, we might see something like, hey, look, this sucks. And then you leave it like that. That doesn't help, right? I just literally talked about that at the beginning of the show, how this looks like shit. Okay, why? Why does it look like shit? Is the frame rate not good? Is the movement not good? Is the platforming from building to building as you're going forward chasing somebody not good? What is it? Explain yourself. Go from that and let these guys understand what you're seeing, because maybe they're not seeing it. Maybe they're too blind because they're so heavily invested in it that they need to step back. And if you just say that shit, they're just gonna like, all right, move that off into the trash pile, move on. But when you say something like this, you know, when you critique them properly, they can step back and be like, wait a second, are we looking at this the wrong way because we're so invested in this a certain way, because we don't want it to be like Arkham? You know, we want to change it up and we just don't see it. You know, you gotta remember, we gotta push that out there. And again, as fans, we also got to remember, we don't know what they see and what they're doing. So as being critical and respectful as what we see, maybe we just don't know the outcome, you know, and that's part of the issue. Is we got to, you know, can't just take it for what it is, but we also can't just throw it out there with no feedback properly. So I'm interested in playing it. I'm not interested in actually buying it or any of that stuff. I'll see what happens. I'll see who actually enjoys it, what happens when it does come out. Whether it's 2013 or 2024, I don't care. I'll have other games to play.
It all comes down to what your expectations are. Like you said, it's one of those double-edged swords where the Rocksteady reputation is a good thing, and it's also the bad thing. So I think that's kind of where we're all divided, is that, you know, you trust in the process, and you trust that, you know, they know what they're doing, and they're going to still pump out a really good game here. And that could be the case. I mean, we don't know until you play it, right? But at the end of the day, it's also because it's Rocksteady, again, because it feels like it's a bit of a departure from the stuff we know and love from them. And it's been a long time. And we also know that studios change and the people at studios change. Whether that's a design choice through different, like, you know, talented devs that come and go, or if a lot of sometimes these choices are largely driven by corporate suits who could really give a shit whether the game is great per se. I mean, sure, they'd like their games to be great because it usually translates to good sales and a longer lifespan. But at the end of the day, like I said, and I think this is where some of them are getting it wrong, and I've said this before, games that revolve around universal properties, such as the Avengers or the Justice League or anything else in that ilk, don't need to rely on battle passes and microtransactions to sell the game. They're going to sell a boatload right from the hop. Like, were they not satisfied with the fact that the Arkham games sold really, really well? I mean, they just had pretty much Batman, and they were great games. And this is, like I said, like somewhere along the lines, they start getting this little bit of a taste of success. And instead of just sticking to the tried and true, they kind of start going off and they try to make a game that maybe pleases too many audiences and all this sort of shit. And then, of course, the corporate suits come in and start, you know, throwing down this game needs to have microtransactions, and it needs to have a battle pass, and it needs to have seasons, and it needs to have stuff to extend the life beyond the initial, you know, year or two that it comes out and blows the doors off of things. You know what I mean? Those games are great with some DLC, but they don't need to be games as a service, at least in my opinion. I mean, they do games with the service too, but they're intentionally done that way. Like what you call it, DC Universe Online, but that was an MMO. Like it was done purposely for that sake. See, that's the thing. It came out with that intent in mind right from the get-go. But I feel like they're trying to get the Batman Arkham success or trying to use the formula there, but they've changed it. And now it starts to feel like they've let's look at what the Avengers is doing. And we see how that turned out for the Avengers game, right? Pretty much backfired on them. Square Enix has been bitching about that ever since. So this is what I'm saying there with that. And those games don't need it. They're universal properties. Spider-Man's not trying to do that shit over on PlayStation because Spider-Man's going to sell a boatload of games, right? Because it's Spider-Man, right? And it's also because he's on the world's most popular platform in the PlayStation. And I'm saying the world's because it is. Across the world, PlayStation is kicking ass. And the only game that I've ever seen that can transcend formulas every time and get it right, and in my opinion, again, my opinion, you know who that is? Super Mario. Every single Mario game has almost been vastly different from the one before it. There's not even like the same world, essentially. But you know one thing that always has in common? Going from Galaxy to Odyssey to whatever you want to play, it feels the same to me. It's like they have that mechanic down. Maybe it's because it's simplified. I mean, what are you doing in Mario? You run, you jump, you go through tunnels, that sort of shit. You get in a new suit. But Mario is one of the few properties I've ever seen. Sonic didn't do it. Sonic's been up and down like a boat ride out of hell. You know what I mean? Like all over the place. But Mario, boom! It's like boom, 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 boom. Doesn't matter. Mario 3 keeps on going, and just these games almost seem like they keep getting better, but they're all a little different. I mean, Odyssey didn't feel anything like the Galaxy games on the Wii, right? But yet it still came up, was amazingly successful, did everything right, and added enough to the old formula to make it new and fresh. But again, keeping the formula, right? Whatever it is, on the formula I'm talking about is like gameplay mechanics, which is usually what it comes down to. Got to keep that mechanic. It has to feel familiar. I keep saying this about Call of Duty. You can change the Call of Duty world, but every single Call of Duty game borrows largely from the same gameplay mechanic, which is why you pick up a Call of Duty game and it feels like old hat. It feels like jumping into your favorite pajamas. It's like, oh my God. It might be different. You might be climbing up a ladder. You might be jumping off a building with a jet suit on, but at the end of the day, it feels the same. And this is what I said about Halo. Halo doesn't feel the same. Play the Master Chief Collection, and you go from one game to the next game, and you go, what the hell? Like, I feel like one game he's slow, next game he's fast, next game, like I said, the time to kill is different. Like, they keep changing it, and that's why it pisses off so many people, but it pleases other people. I think we're in the same spot with the games as a whole. But anyway, I'm rambling. Crazy shit. Anybody have further thoughts on this?
No, I think we pretty much.
But I hope you see my point. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Again, that's just my opinion. Maybe some people can't stand the Mario game.
I get where you're coming from, and just to end with this, the last thing I'll say, it's like Crystal Dynamics when they developed the Avengers game, the single player portions of that game, and even Black Panther DLC stuff was fantastic because that's what they're known for. That's their forte. You know what I'm saying? So there's no doubt in my mind that this Suicide Squad game, the single player stuff or the story stuff is going to be great, but it's just all that extra stuff that they're trying to add on to it that may potentially bring it down, or it may not. We have to wait and see.
So wait and see. Indeed. Anyway, guys, we do wish the best for Suicide Squad. If and when it comes out, we hope that people will enjoy it, and maybe, like I said, a good word of mouth gets around, and the game takes off. But we'll have to wait and see. All we can hope for at this point is that it doesn't get delayed. But if they delay it for all the right reasons, then so be it. Obviously the reaction, regardless, was not very favorable. So there is a probability. Even though, again, it's not fact, as Paul said. It's not fact. We don't know for sure. Warner Brothers hasn't stated it. It's a lot of speculation based off an article from Bloomberg and Jason Schreier and so on and so forth. But again, based on feedback, it wouldn't entirely surprise me. But we've been wrong before, and I'll be happy to be wrong again. But anyway, last but not least, before we get out of here, and I'll try not to keep everybody too long, but the Resident Evil 4 game is just around the corner. It is obviously a remake. Three largely successful games, or should I say no, 2 largely successful games before it, with the Resident Evil 2 remake and then Resident Evil 3. Got people crying out for Code Veronica as well, but maybe that'll come, maybe it won't. And but here we are, Resident Evil 4, which was kind of the game, in my personal opinion, I think John Wolf might agree, was sort of the game that transcended the franchise a little bit. It was the game, I think, that brought Resident Evil sort of into more homes. It was the first game that really started utilizing new tech and got away from sort of that clunkiness that sort of hampered the old games, which, you know, back in the day, it didn't hamper the old games because that's all we knew. We had 8-way directional D-pads and they had fixed camera views and all this stuff. And then Resident Evil 4 comes in, and all of a sudden now you can play over the shoulder. You had a little more freedom of view, bigger field of vision. You know, it started to feel a little more modern, I guess you could say. And now, of course, the refined version, Resident Evil 4 Remake, pretty cool. If you've tried the Chainsaw demo, I like it a lot. I might have to pick up this game. And that just begs the different. I want to know from everybody here, if you could make any franchise, if you could remake one, what would it be and why? I'd love to hear from you. And the older the games are, the more I like the suggestions. And let's start with our guests and go down through the panel. Let's start with Dreadpool. Dread, if there was a franchise you could go out and remake, which would it be and why?
Wow. Okay.
Got to think about that one, huh? So many games.
Yeah, the first one, I don't know why it just popped in my head, and it doesn't really need a remake, but it was a Deadpool game, so I gotta really think of one that needs a remake. Let's go with one, Siphon Filter.
Nice.
That needs
an oldie.
That needs a good adjustment and a remake. I mean, but what I really would love, especially in today's age,
Horizon Forbidden West.
No, that just needs to go away. Now, I would like to see Fear.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Fear.
That's really what I would like to see come back. Better graphics. I mean, just the way that they made those games, the way Alma would just mentally mind F you. That was beautiful. I love that game. I love the series. But
I beat that last year. I beat it last year for the first time, all 3 games. It was great.
Right? It's a total mind F.
Yep.
You know, and that's the beauty of that type of horror that I like. You know, I like the first person view. I love and she doesn't always pop out at the same spots either. So if you replay it, it won't be there again. You know what I mean? So it's like when you go replay those levels, she doesn't pop out there, and you're like looking around. You're like, I'm waiting for the trigger to for this part of the. No, it's all random, and it's beautiful.
Very nice. Great pick. We got Fear from Dreadpool. Good horror first-person shooter classic. I guess it's almost classic at this point. It's not that old, but it's old enough that it deserves a remake. Heck, I mean, if they're remaking The Last of Us again, they could certainly remake that one.
Yeah, there's plenty of games that I could just go through a list, but that'd be my number one. There's so many games that, like Dead to Rights, just throw that out there, that the game mechanics, the controls, you can't change them. You know what I mean? And they're the opposite of what we're used to doing. And so it's a lot. There's a lot of the old games. So anything, I'm well positioned for a push to get anything at least up until the age of the 360. Anything older needs to get remade and brought up to today's time. And I think especially when it comes to 3D games, anything that was in 3D, first person view, third person view, any of that stuff. We talked about Capcom with Resident Evil. You got Silent Hill. A lot of those games were fixed cameras on Emusha. You fix cameras, and I always hated that because it always threw me off because I'm pushing the wrong direction. And when I go to push the right direction, now I go back in the other door. So a lot of those games need to be brought up to today. But yeah, Fear would be my number one pick right now. Make it, bring it back, and blow Dead Space out of the water. Because that's not a horror game. That's just just happens to have some aliens in it that people are scared of for whatever reason.
Right. Well picked, Mr. Dreadpool. Let's get down to John Wolf. And John, I'm going to assume you're probably laughing at what I put in the chat.
Yeah, definitely. Oh man, so I cheated a little for this topic. I cheated a little. There's really two games. I'll list off one really fast. Any wrestling fans out there? WWF No Mercy needs a remake.
Oh yes.
But we're kind of getting one with AEW Fight Forever. It's trying to use that Aki engine that is, the just to me was just the golden age of wrestling. The No Mercy to the World, the Revenge, WCW Revenge, all those wrestling games, man. Numerous hours spent with family members, friends, fighting over foam championships, starting real life rivalries and beef. Just the storylines and stuff that we used to come up with is such a fun time. So WWF No Mercy would be up there for me. And then one story-driven game that I would like to see remade is Spec Ops: The Line. I think that is a super underrated game, and I would love to see a remake of that brought to modern age. That would be great.
Great pick, man. Love that game. That's awesome. Well done. I mean, it's not that old and it was pretty well done to begin with, but yeah, if they wanted to remake it new age graphics or whatever, yeah, go for it. That'd be cool.
Imagine the ultra modern realism that they're using now.
Oh shit, yeah. I know that game was nuts. Good stuff. All right. Awesome chat. We got RWK88 in the building. What's going on? The game complainer is still with us. Fahim Scott, what's happening? Good to see you there. And so many more. Amazing show today. We've had nearly 50 at one point in time. Fantastic turnout today. Again, we thank you, especially with the time change and everything. I'm sure a lot of people were probably rolling in a bit late this morning. So, but we greatly appreciate you being here. All right, some great picks. All right, let's get to the panel. Let's start with Cerebral Paul. Has been relatively quiet since the Suicide Squad conversation. Let's hope he didn't hang himself. So there you go, Cerebral Paul.
Nope. Let's see. So my first thought was I'd like to see the original Unreal.
Okay, that's a great pick.
And brought back. Yeah, you should go back further. So I went back further.
You did.
It was just an incredible game when it came out. I'd like to see it brought back again. I think it, with today's graphics and stuff, it could be very well done. Mm-hmm. The other ones I'd like to see brought back are actually point and clicks. Any of the Sarah Online adventures, Space Quest, Police Quest, some of those, especially the Space Quest series, are very funny. They have great humor in them, and they're just fun games. And we've seen what can be done with like Grim Fandango and the likes of those that came out of LucasArts. So I think the Sierra Online stuff could have a place in modern gaming, and people would enjoy it once they played it. So real quick, real easy,
Nice. Well, that's a great pick. The old Sierra Online. I certainly know about those ones. Back in the day, real popular on the PCs for sure. Great pick.
And I'm going to throw one more out there that a lot of people, the Ultima series, like Ultima 3 and 4 especially. Those things on modern machines would be amazing.
Do we get to kill King Britain again?
Lord British, you mean?
Lord British. There you go.
Lord British.
The one that Splendiferous has put up. I've heard a lot of people asking about that one. Legacy of Kain.
That's another one. Soul Reaver. Oh man.
Yeah.
And that's what I was hoping for with what the heck's it called? The one that Bethesda's coming out with now. The vampire ones.
Redfall,
yeah, thank you. I was hoping that would push maybe, I did get side note here. I did get a survey about any interest in bringing back Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver, any of those games. And I filled it out and made sure, and hopefully the interest is there that they actually do bring it back.
So another good one too, from Fahim. True Crime is a good one. Jesse Darby says the Oregon Trail. Some really good.
The Oregon Trail. I think.
I don't think that's ever gone away.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say, did they actually redo kind of bring that back a little while ago? Not long ago.
They did, if I recall. Yeah. They did do another update to it.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's get over to Coolcat Terri. How about yourself? You could go back and remake a game. What would it be and why?
Okay, so for me, I'm thinking Driver. Driver 1 and 2 were some of the best moments I had as a kid, sitting down and playing games. I just really, really love the Driver series. and they really like. Then Ubisoft bought it. I love Ubisoft, but Ubisoft has done nothing with Driver. Back when Atari owned Driver was amazing. So I mean, I really would like to see the 1 and 2, get like at least a remaster. I would be happy with the remaster. But if they could do like a full remake and do it really well, I would be happy with that too. But Driver 1 and 2 were just so freaking good that those I really would love. I just great games.
What game was it that had Vin Diesel in it? It was like a driver game that had him as a star. I'm not talking about Fast and Furious. That's the movies, but he was in a game that you drove around a lot in. Anybody remember what that was?
No.
Okay, never mind.
I don't know.
Chronicles of Riddick was really good on the OG Xbox. That was real good.
Yeah, Crimson Skies would be another one that I would love to see a remake of.
I'm sorry, Wheelman. That was the game.
Wheelman.
I was muted this whole time, and nobody's responding to me. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, Wheelman was had similarities to Driver. I think that was kind of like a spiritual successor to a certain extent. Go ahead, Terry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, and then just think of like games that I've that really like did things for me, and I would say probably maybe have them do a remake or a remaster of Dragon Age Origins, the first game, because that game was just so well done, but it's not aging very well. So it would be nice to have that kind of revamped and to get the new generation of gamers into that, because Dragon Age is still a very popular franchise, but a lot of the younger kids that are playing, Inquisition and stuff like that, they're not going to go back and play Origins, So that one would be a great one to see revitalized as well. And then another one that Medal of Honor Airborne. When it comes to like your military shooters, that one was always like my favorite. So like I would like to see them either revitalize that or just bring Medal of Honor back. I don't even think they stopped Medal of Honors. I'm pretty sure. Like I would like to see that make a comeback. I would rather play that over Call of Duty. I don't even play Call of Duty anymore. I gave up on Call of Duty years ago because it's the same game. I want something different.
Well, Medal of Honor got pushed aside by Battlefield, and we kind of see how that's turned out for them too lately. So
I can't stand Battlefield. I won't play that crap either. So.
Alrighty, Axel, how about yourself, man?
Yeah, I'm gonna name 2 games, and technically one of them is like a huge franchise that has several games in it. But I'm gonna start off with really old school. Back on the Sega Saturn, there's this little known. It's not a little known game, but it's a game that didn't have very many copies made, and I feel that everybody should play it. And that is Panzer Dragoon Saga. It could rival Final Fantasy VII in RPGs, but nobody knows about it. Because they didn't make very many, but Panzer Dragoon Saga to me is just amazing. It has an amazing combat system. Flying around in your dragon was so awesome. It's basically what Scalebound wanted to be back in the 32 32-bit Sega Saturn era. The other series I'm going to go back to is Command and Conquer as a whole. I want Command and Conquer Tiberium Wars. I want Command and Conquer Red Alert. I want Command and Conquer Generals. The futuristic Tiberium Wars is great. It was fantastic. The only reason I bought a PC to game on back in the day was Command and Conquer. That's it. That's why I wanted a PC. I was so enamored with it.
Did you get the remaster? Did you pick up the remasters?
Years ago? Oh yes, I have them all. If it exists in Command and Conquer universe, I have them all, Paul. Renegade, all of them. And then Command and Conquer released Red Alert, and it was like, hey, what if we actually weaponize dolphins and squids? What if you could strap a bomb to a cow and have it blow up as tanks were rolling by it? Command and Conquer Red Alert just took the ridiculous level up to 100 and never looked back, and it was so fun, so fantastic. I loved Command and Conquer Red Alert. And that was basically an alternative World War II war where Hitler died, but Stalin took over. That was fantastic. And then you get into Command and Conquer Generals, which is essentially the modern era, the modern day wars, where the U.S., China, the rebels or terrorists, the Russians are all fighting one another, in conflicts. They're not in war, they're in conflicts, doing the proxy wars like we do today. And man, it's so fun. It is just so good. I missed the Command and Conquer series. I missed the fact that that they didn't have CGI cutscenes, that they were all acted cutscenes. The corny acting, I miss all of it. Man. I love Command and Conquer so much. I want it back.
Nice. Love the diversity and all the picks today. Great stuff, guys and gals. Yeah, Crimson Skies. Fahim Scott's the supporter of that one. Coolcat Terri.
It's a great game.
Skies of Arcadia. We've had some great picks. Condemned in there, I think, earlier from Jesse Darby was a great game that on the 360 and stuff like that was really popular. Me personally, honestly, I think that this is another thing that some of these companies need to go back and revisit, because if you look at all the properties of games, for example, that would make great remakes. You could pretty much take anything from the 8-bit, 16-bit era, or even the 32-bit era for that matter, because, and make them into new games. Do you know what I mean? Because there's so many good stories and games that we never really seen fully exploited. Like, I mean, think of all the games you play. Like, I'm just typically off the top of my head, like even some of the obscure TurboGrafx stuff here, or like we've never seen a New Age Bonk's Adventure, for example, which I think would be a fantastic 3D platformer these days, right? Remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
So there's lots of games, and there was overall lots of great stuff on the Genesis. Like, could you imagine, say, like a Revenge of Shinobi game, for example, but made in a third dimension with today's graphics and level design and stuff like this? I'm saying there's so many great properties out there. Or imagine a modern day Altered Beast, how cool that would be, right? Especially everybody's riding the dragon highs and stuff. Imagine just turning into a dragon and going through this level and just frying people, and then turn into a big bear character and stuff. But doing it in sort of like the way that God of War is doing it. You know what I mean? Perhaps without all the leveling up stuff. But wouldn't that be so cool? Or maybe that would be the mechanic. You'd level up into those characters. You have to get a certain stuff so you could evolve into the next character into the level. Like there's like think outside the box, right? You just got to go with the property itself and then make it new. But getting back to the focus in hand, John Wolf kind of took one of mine. I've always kind of clamored a little bit for a Chronicles of Riddick or the Riddick Escape from Butcher Bay remake. Because that was an original Xbox 360, and it looked fantastic then. Still looks pretty good now. But I'm gonna pick a little franchise that I really like. That the first game was highly missed by a lot of people because of when it came out, and I think the first game came out on the PlayStation 2, and the franchise has kind of gone into dormant limbo ever since. And I'm referring to Killzone and the original game. I would love to see Killzone brought back. I love that franchise. I particularly love games 2 and 3. The last one on the PS4, while it looked amazing and some great gun mechanics, obviously it's just, again, that's where you start messing with the formulas. You change the story, and all of a sudden, the game kind of goes, that sort of thing. So yeah, I want to say with Killzone, because I still think they have something with Killzone if they approach it right, and just make it maybe a little more exciting, sort of thing. But overall, I like that. Some great ones in the chat. A Jade Empire, that would be an amazing game for sure. A great BioWare title that didn't get enough love back in the Xbox days, but is near and dear to the hearts of many. Same thing with, like Terry mentioned, Dragon Age. There's so many great games. There's a pile of cash out there, you know what I mean, waiting on the table for some of these companies to jump into. I mean, personally, like I said, and I'm going to say it again, I think The Last of Us, The Last of Us Part 1 remake, was largely uncalled for. I think it's a little premature. I think a lot of games that are at least like 2 console generations back may be more warranted than stuff that, like, literally I just bought like several years ago on the PlayStation 4, and I thought that was phenomenal, and then they redo it again. So but look, at the end of the day, there's no right and wrong answer. We know why companies do it, because it's an easy way to pad their pocketbooks while they're waiting for other big games to drop. It takes a lot less development time. You don't have to rewrite a script or a story. You don't have to change a lot of the game mechanics. You just basically got to go in and put a new coat of paint on it. It's a lot easier to paint a wall that's just a different color than have to rebuild the wall and certainly do it from scratch. You know how it goes. So, right, Terry? Like, it's a lot easier to tweak an engine and have to take an engine out of a car and rebuild it from scratch, right?
Yeah.
So there you go, and especially when the parts are hard to come by and they're older, and it's always a gamble because you don't know how some games, what games, and that's always the tough part, right? Because what games for us resonated with us when we were smaller and when younger might not necessarily make the best remakes today. Like I just said Killzone, and while I might love it, will the rest of the audiences care for it? Who the hell knows? But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it for the show. Any final thoughts before we get out of here? We're definitely running well over time. Our longest episode since I've returned to Good Morning Xbox, but we got technical difficulties and everything aside. But a great show today with two phenomenal guests. Anybody have anything else you'd like to add? And again, if you can support Cerebral Paul, he did put up a link earlier. He's welcome to post it up again one more time if he wants before we close out here, just to share it out. If any, also really appreciated.
Yeah, Noof, I would like to.
Go ahead, man.
To share something with people, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
There we go. Yeah, it's a little announcement for my podcast, the Iconic Video Games Podcast. If you don't mind, yeah, it's okay. You can let it play.
Okay. It just played on its own. That's weird.
Yeah, they started adding it. So essentially, the Iconic Video Games Podcast is adding a fourth panel member. They are joining us on March 24th, the episode Friday, March 24th. Be sure to be there and catch it, guys. As always, the Iconic Video Games Podcast every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Catch me, Doggy Dog 420, and Princess Zelda as we go over games that we loved playing, that we want to play, and that we are playing. It's all about that. The games over at the Iconic Video Games Podcast, and we are getting a new panel member, so that's fantastic.
That's really cool. Any talk of Princess Zelda coming back at all, or is she just
she will be there the 24th for you Princess Zelda fans.
Nice. Yeah, no, it's a great dynamic going over there, and she's definitely missed for sure. But you guys have got a good thing going there. And again, there's the link for Cerebral Paul if you guys wish to go and help this gentleman out. Time is a ticking. He's still got a few more months, but in the meantime, any little bit is appreciated. And I think he might be about halfway to his goal right now. So
about that, yeah, just under half.
Just under half. So he's getting there, but another push would be greatly appreciated. So there you go, guys. Anything helps. We appreciate it here on behalf of us all. All right, let's let everybody get out of here. Let's start with our incredible guest, Mr. John Wolf. You came on. You did not disappoint. Loved having you here today, my friend. And we hope to have you back in the future. So let everybody know where they can catch up with you on social media, or if you have any podcasts that you're on regularly.
Yeah, thanks. No, not currently. I'm not part of any rotation right now. I just come and guest, here and there. But thanks again for having me. It was an honor, being here again. New for you, Cerebral. Dread always brings it, man. We used to be we used to be together. Breakfast with Boom. Axel, I love all your takes, man. I think they're fantastic voice to this community, and Coolcat Terri for sure. It was an honor again being here. Thank you so much. Hit me up on Twitter, Xbox, Steam, PlayStation, John Wolf, exactly how it's out there. Strike up a conversation anytime you guys want to talk. I'm always up for talking about games.
I can hear Cerebral Paul's stop pattern right now. Wanna buy chopped liver?
No, I did call you out, Paul. I did call you out. Cerebral.
Yeah, but you gave everybody else nice compliments. I would just add Paul was here too. I got whatever.
No, man, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. That's funny. I was expecting a witty comeback right off the bat from Paul. Like,
yeah, and Paul too.
Paul,
there you go. Yeah,
Paul too. Yeah, he's included now. Paul, you're included. Getting over to Dreadpool. Yes, as he has listed his stuff up on the screen, I'll increase that for you here a little. There you go, so he can tell you in person himself where you can find him. Breaking that head.
Yes, definitely. You can find me everywhere. YouTube, Twitter. You just got to figure out if it's O's or zeros for the Dreadpool part, because somebody else stole my name. But yeah, Gaming Beyond the Box Sunday nights now at 7 p.m. Breakfast with Boom at 10 a.m. And I'll drop the links on in the chat there. I am also affiliated with Insta360. So when you see the 360 videos that I do, that's who I use. And they accepted me as an affiliate partner. Actually, they reached out, which was really funny. I was like, what? Okay, cool. But yeah, definitely. Thanks again for having me out here. And like I said, Husk is working on those videos. I'm working on some more interviews. One is an author that I'm trying to get a hold of, which is hopefully he's listening, and he'll actually respond to an email. But otherwise, I'm going to give up on him. But yeah, I got some other creators that are on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram that I'm gonna pop in. One of them is going to be a repeat. I'm not going to let you know who, but working on scheduling everything like that. And being in person is really, really hard. Doing these things online are so much easier for everybody, you know what I'm saying? But when you do it in person, it's so hard to do. But I appreciate everybody's time to check it all out and all that. So again, thank you for having me on. Yes, Coolcat Terri, Axel, you guys great shows. Forget about Paul. Never mind him. Don't eat the pizza that he's at the hotels that he stays at. But yeah, definitely support Paul. He's a good guy. Even if it's $1, anything to help him get to his goal, so he can, I'd say carry on, but I don't want to sound like a bad way. You know what I mean, Paul?
He can find himself some new accommodations and start over
exactly.
again.
Basically, yeah. I'm in a position where I got to start over all from scratch again. So yeah.
So yeah, anything to help out a good friend there. Good community member with the streams that he does. But again, thank you guys. And Noof, I already told you in the green room, I'm looking to surpass you. You're gonna have to figure out what to do to get to that 2K before I do. So you guys listening, support Noof, get him to 2K. Support me, get me to 2K. Support Axel and Coolcat Terri, and John too, because John's got some good stuff even on Twitter. He's got some good takes here and there. And until he finds another home or creates his own home on YouTube, give everybody
you
support.
never know when today's podcast guest is tomorrow's podcast superstar, right?
You never know.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, I've had Steel Rain and he and Pong Soul before they got together. I had him on Breaking Bread. So we had I've had a few people on that have blown up. I've had a few people on that blew up right before I got to them. But yeah, it's you never know. Anybody has the right voice, has the right opinions, will throw out there. You get some of the negativity out there. Don't give them no mind. Just let them have their say. Whatever. Move on, and give the good people the push to grow and be better.
Yeah, I've certainly learned that, my friend, that the love and support we get is often much underappreciated. We get too wrapped up sometimes in the negative, douche hats out there. So, for sure. So yeah. Well, Dreadpool is one of the best in the business. When you say the word support, his name would be right up there next to it. So make sure you go back and support him. Subscribe.
No, his name is next to his name. His name is next to athletic support. That's different. That's.
All right. Well, since we're talking about support, let's talk about you, Mr. Man on Wheels. Where can people catch up with you next? You're always a busy fellow.
Okay, so in a few hours I'll be on the Flemish Experience. And then on Mondays, I'm on the Xbox Ambassador channel, my own show, Gaming Differently with Cerebral Paul at 10 a.m. Pacific or 1 p.m. Eastern. On Tuesdays, I am on the Retro Renegades. On Wednesdays, I am on, we're on a hiatus right now because Spooky had his brain surgery last Friday, so he'll be out for about the next month or so. So normally I would be on the Backlog Bastards. Yeah. And then on Thursdays, I'm on 4GQTV where we did interviews. In fact, I just did an interview, including with Dred's wife, with B. Harrison Smith, who is a writer-director of horror movies. That will be dropping soon. And then, let's see, that's it. Friday and Saturday, I try to sleep.
Except for yesterday.
Yeah, except for yesterday, yeah, when I was up early in the morning to do an interview. Yeah. And we have a few more lined up as well, so yeah. we've been tapping more and more into I've been tapping more and more into the horror market, so I'm enjoying that a lot.
Into the what market?
Horror, the horror movie.
I thought you said the same.
No, I'm not. I'm not interviewing your mother, asshole.
Whoa. Well, I knew you were starting over, but I didn't know you were trying to pimp on wheels.
A low blow to end the show. Oh my God, we've been here too long. We're all getting tired now. All right, guys, go catch up with Cerebral Paul. Like I said, click that link and support him if you can. Again, all these people are amazing. And our last amazing panel member, who I didn't think was going to make the show today, but I'm glad she did. And we'll do a double dose of the Indie Spotlight for you next week because we kind of botched this one, largely due to me. But anyway, Coolcat Terri, glad that your audio seems to be working somewhat better now, and glad that you can make it today, as always, and let people know where they can catch up with you and your next fantastic video.
All right, everybody. So you can go ahead and you can check me out over on Twitter, Coolcat_Terri, and that's going to be primarily indie game stuff over there. So check that out if you want to, get things that you don't normally see. Okay, things that aren't heavily marketed. So go ahead and check that stuff out. You can always follow me over on YouTube. I got 2 YouTube channels. I got my gaming one, which is this name that you see here. That I have some of my older podcast stuff on there if you want to go check some of that stuff out. And then I also have my automotive channel, which is Coolcat's Alley, and I try to post a video every Saturday of me working on my car. So if you guys like car stuff, you can check that out too. And then I have my Instagram, Coolcat Terri, like you see on the screen. And you can, that's more just whatever I'm happen to be doing in real life, you can go check that out. And then hopefully soon I'll be back to my Twitch once I get something that, I want to stream again. It's been a while since I've had a game that's like, yeah, I really want to stream this. It's been a while. Games have been for a couple years now. So hopefully I can make a comeback to that because I do miss doing my Twitch. It's been a while.
Indeed. And you guys know where to find me, always in the gutter when I'm not hanging out here with these fantastic cast of characters on Good Morning Xbox. You can find me streaming on Tuesday nights and my YouTube channel. Well, I stream on YouTube sometimes, and I'm trying to get back into my Twitch as well. It's Noof Nukem 76. Can't just add the 76 is basically my PlayStation handle as well. Noof Nukem 76. That is my Twitch handle. So go check that out if you can. I'd love to see some more people come out to my streams. Twitch has been a big struggle for me. Mixer was moving in the right direction, but we all know what happened there. But anyway, not here to whine and moan. I'm here just to get out of here. And also, and I always keep forgetting this one, but you can find me on Thursday nights with another great group of people on Game Set Live, hosted by KY Bob and company. So that's a great little show Thursday nights. It goes down at 9 p.m. Eastern, 7 Mountain Time, and definitely he's not getting enough love and support. He's a great dude. I was really honored that he really wanted me to be on his show for so long. I finally said, frig it, because I asked a few, and sometimes it's really nice because that's the show that I'm now a guest on, or I'm a panel member, and anybody who knows who does podcasts, you'll know that sometimes it's nice just to be a panel member and not hosting, because hosting takes on a whole nother set of like promotional stuff and responsibilities and planning, and it's a juggle, and it's hard to concentrate sometimes, especially on a busy show where things get nutty. So yeah, Axel knows, and anybody else who's hosted a podcast certainly knows what we're talking about. And a big shout out to all the podcasters out there, because if you're doing this stuff, you do it because you love gaming. We're all here for the same reasons. So keep doing what you're doing. It's a tough grind out there. And Dreadpool mentioned, I would love to at least get the 2K. I feel like after freaking 10 years of my life almost has been dedicated here, that you'd think I'd be there already, but I'm not. But hey, look, I'm not complaining, because look, I know podcasters out there as well who've been at this longer than I have, and they have less subs than I do. So look, it is what it is, and it's largely akin because this is a very crowded space, and it's hard to find an audience, and a lot of us share the same audience. There's a lot of people that I see in this chat today that are out to a lot of other podcasts, and it's amazing how many they get to check out and stop in. And again, this chat's amazing because a lot of the people that are in this chat, they've been here like since the moment we went live, and they're still here like freaking 2 hours, 2.5, 3 hours later, they're still here. That's amazing. So that's the kind of support that you definitely got to acknowledge, because it's hard to find. And guys like Doggy Dog, man, like dude's one of the best out there. I can't stress that enough. Like I said, Dread's here. Love Dread pieces. Dread's been following me and supported me way back. Everybody here, just amazing. And again, our guests are great today. John, our panel members, awesome. Cerebral, Terry, Axel. Miss you, Eternal Shaddai, and definitely miss Scrub Nurse. Hopefully he gets back here soon. Look, the Game Complainers, he's still here. Absolutely, man. And we recognize that you're still here, and we appreciate it. You're freaking awesome. And thanks again for the support. Hit the like, subscribe button on the way out. If you don't know or you like this podcast, tell more people about it. Say, come over on Sunday or at least watch the replay. That's all it takes. It's only literally a couple of clicks. You don't even have to stay and watch a whole 3-hour episode. A couple of clicks, maybe a little like, comment here and there. It's great. And if you're in this chat, maybe thinking about getting into the podcasting scene and you want to be a guest on this show, why not send me a DM? And who knows, we'll get you on here. That's how it works. That's how a lot of people have gotten their start. It's through my channel, and there you go.
Send Noof a DM, and my Cash App is. Oh wait, no.
yeah. Just ease up on the dong pics, okay? Those you can send to Coolcat Terri. Okay, she'll take the dong pics. I don't need to see them. Okay, it's going to be a short conversation. Let's get out of here. Let's end this show. Thank you all so much for being here. I'll let you get out of here. So again, thanks again, everybody, and have yourself a great day.
Bye, everybody.
Peace.
Oh, wrong one. See, I hit the wrong button. Darn it. Yes, here we go. Outro.